Next on America's Day at the Races, Front Run the Fed has been a terror on turf. The Chad Brown trainee has reeled off 3 straight wins. He'll try to keep his perfect 3-year-old season intact in the English Channel. Call Me Harry will try to put an end to his run. Harry's won back-to-back starts himself and now tries to stretch his speed out to a mile distance for the first time. Welcome to the show. It's brought to you in part by America's Best Racing. For the love of the race, visit americasbestracing.net today. The final 2 days of the meet here at Belmont Park Fall in Elmont, New York, at a gorgeous Saturday afternoon. 2 cards remain. Of course, we're already underway on this Saturday program. And here to talk us through the entire thing, the usual crew. Greg Wolf alongside 4-time Major League All-Star Paul LaDuca, New York Racing Association handicapper Andy Serling. Front Run the Fed is turning into a monster on the grass.
No, he's really been terrific. You know, we saw that coming out party when he ran that crazy race going 7 furlongs when he won by over a dozen lengths, which you basically never see in turf races. I mean, the number of double-digit winners in turf races is pretty infrequent, and he backed it up with a nice effort last time. I think he's a horse that's fooled Chad Brown a little bit.
Yeah, I think he's a horse that's 2 years old. He ran such a big race going 1 turn. Then they tried him 2 turns at Gulfstream. Then since they've come back to 1 turn at age 3, he's turned into a different animal.
But his last race was 2 turns, so I just think he's a vastly improved horse. But he's got a real rival outside of him in Bourbon Warren. I'm not a big weight guy, but he gets a 6-pound weight shift in his favor since the last time they met. I thought he had a chance to upset Front Run the Fed.
Halliday's got some talent, too, for Todd Pletcher. In between those 2.
Oh, and the other horse, too, Call Me Harry, I understand now stretching out, but this is a talented runner here for Kelsey Danner. Yeah.
Harry.
Yeah, Call Me Harry.
I think Seismic Wave's going to make some noise in there.
Yeah.
Front of the Fed's a horse to beat. That's a competitive field, though, and I agree. Call Me Harry's a fun horse. See if he wants to go this far.
Yeah.
2 sprints stretching out yet for Call Me Harry. Of course, the big one coming up later this afternoon. Maximum Security, disqualified out of that Kentucky Derby victory. Still a 2-time Grade 1 winner. It's his first start back since this Grade 1 win in the Haskell. Had that bout with colic, using this as a stepping stone either to the Cigar Mile or the Clark.
Yeah, will they want to return to Churchill Downs or perhaps stay in the cozy confines of New York and the Cigar Mile? He is very good. This is a very good field as he faces Olders for the first time. And win or lose, he has the look of a horse that's going to be overbet because this is a very tough field.
Yeah, it's a tough field. It gets a little bit lighter with Nick's going Wonderful Light out of
less speed.
Yeah, less speed out of the race.
Well, there's no speed left. It's
well,
him.
I don't know about that.
I don't agree with you.
I think
Timber has speed.
I think Kilbeck's captain can stay close. Diamond King can stay close.
He could be in front if he wanted.
And Prince Lucky. So I think it's changed the dynamics of the race a tiny bit, but I think that he's still not vulnerable. I still think he's not a single for me.
2 speeds came out, but no major contender came out.
I'm with you there.
Yeah, but the 2, I think the 2 quickest horses that would going to pressure him came out.
Well, I think you think he's faster than he is early. I think Diamond King and True Timber could both run with him, if not be faster than him early if they want.
We'll see. Has the rail, has the aggressive Luis Saez, and he's usually in front. By the way, he's the high weight in this race as a 3-year-old.
Yeah.
Does that mean anything?
I mean, he's the highway as a 3-year-old.
Yeah,
you don't think weight gets you beat?
Well, I just made a weight comment in the other race.
Right?
So I'm not big on weight, especially going 7 furlongs, but it's always worth looking at.
Yeah.
Yeah, I guess so.
Some people think it's very important.
You get 4 pounds on your horse that you like, Diamond King.
And he's a better horse, so he's going to win.
There you go.
That's coming up later today. That is race 8. If you do not happen to be on, and those watching on Fox Sports 2 will not be on with us, you can catch it on NYRABets.com. Track conditions, of course, brought to you by Piranha Fly Spray, the preferred fly spray. Belmont Park, Piranha on, Pest gone, main track, fast turf course good for today's action. And we have Stakes Company coming up immediately with Front Run the Fed in the English Channel. That is next. Races 5 and 6 ahead here on Fox Sports 2. And the English Channel, as mentioned, coming up next, Mile on the Turf, and then Maiden's going a 1 1/8. You can bet all the action we show you each and every day on the program with Naira Bets. Get signed up, started, play along, and up to a $200 deposit match with Naira Bets now, plus a $25 risk-free Breeders' Cup bet. Your wager loses, up to $25 back. So get a free play there. Go to NYRABets.com, get signed up, started, get involved at any track, anywhere, anytime with Naira Bets with championship weekend ahead. We're going to talk plenty about the Breeders' Cup as well, and some last-minute works from some of the big contenders coming up. So all that we're going to be looking forward to, but very much looking forward to seeing Front Run the Fed here in this spot. Right now, 3-1.
Yeah, 3-1.
Very mild favorite on the board, although I'm sure that will change.
Yeah, he's a substantial favorite looking at the doubles. Last winner 6-1, $50. He's going to be about 8-5. He's not going to be an overwhelming favorite, but this is a tough field. We talked about it. It's a stern test for him.
I know we talked about this race last time when he ran. You were concerned about the 2 turns, if he'd be as brilliant, as effective. He answered the test that day.
No, I agree. Listen, I think that he could turn out to be a superior 4-year-old next year, and he really has the earmarks of being a very good horse. But this is a tough race, and for a $100,000 ungraded race, this came up tough.
No, it did. I think with Chad, I think Chad understands him now that he needs his races to be spaced apart too as well, and he runs better when they're like that.
Your best bet comes from where?
Against Maximum Security, you're supposed to look for value, and he's going to be over bet in that race. Max Security is helped by the fact that we had about as strong a gold rail as we've had since Belmont Stakes weekend yesterday. It seems to be good today. I don't think it's the same kind of edge today, but I like Diamond King in this spot. To me, Diamond King's connections, well, you can't knock them. He's made almost $500,000 by running in route races in the last year and a half, but he hasn't been 7 furlongs or shorter around 1 turn, or 7 furlongs or shorter since last winter, more than a year and a half ago. And his only 1-turn race since then was a big win down at Gulfstream to start his 4-year-old campaign. I think he wants 7 furlongs. He wants less distance. He wants 1 turn. I'd love to see Jose Ortiz be aggressive and try to seize the lead regardless. I think he's good enough to win this, and he's going to really appreciate the cutback to 1 turn and less distance. And I like Diamond King to win the Bold Ruler today.
Where are you going?
Well, Andy and I are going to have dueling best bets in the same race. And I'm with him. Listen, you got to take a chance against Maximum Security, don't you? Killebeg's captain. I like the 6 in here in this spot with Eric Kensal. I love the win the last time that this horse ran in the DeFrancis at Laurel Park. And a lot of people are going to question whether this horse wants to go a mile. But if you look back, this horse has gone around 2 turns before going a mile in the 16th in the Challenger. Now it's going to cut back to 7 furlongs, not a mile. And I think he's going to be able to stay closer than you think to the pace. He's shown speed before. He's also shown he's a little bit better from off the pace. I think he might be able to set a pretty good trip and a stalking trip on the outside. I like Killebeg's. We like the outside 2 horses, the 6 and 7, besides the 8 Prince Lucky. We're taking our shots against both the favorites in that race.
Prince Lucky going to be a tough customer in that spot if he can repeat what he showed us in the Grade 2 Kelso.
No, I mean, he has the best race of anybody in this field. His win at Gulfstream earlier in the year, it was either early this year or last year, where he ran at 106 Buyer, was a huge, huge win. And he showed signs of being able to run back to it. We'll see.
That is the 8th on the card today, Grade 3, Bold Ruler. Right now, stakes action with the English Channel and Front Run the Fed, trying to keep a perfect 3-year-old season intact and make it 4 for 4. As you take a look at the current odds here, Jose Lezcano, he's been on board for each of the last 2, including that victory in the Better Talk Now at Saratoga. 3-1.
Yeah, he's coming down. He'll likely be in the 8 to 5 range. Actually, interestingly enough, Seismic Wave is the second choice looking at doubles. Now, I'm not shocked by that because Seismic Wave, he's getting some distance relief, and he actually ran well in his last race in the Hill Prince because that was a completely paceless race, and while it certainly compromised Bourbon War, it compromised him too, yet he was able to at least close a little bit. So I think Seismic Wave's a big-time player in this field.
He's 2 for 10 lifetime, and the 3's 2 for 2 lifetime. It's very interesting. Before it's said and done, I think the 6, 7 to 5 or so.
Front Run the Fed, there he is, trying to move to 4 for 4 as a 3-year-old for Chad Brown at Klarovich Stables. The English Channel's next.
Run Happy is simply super. He polishes off an outstanding campaign with a dominant victory in the Malibu.
No medication, no problem. Run Happy, standing at Claiborne Farm.
It only takes 20 cents to take down an Empire. The Empire 6 is the jackpot 20-cent pick 6 bet that's offered every day at Belmont Park. One unique winning ticket earns the entire net pool, plus the jackpot carryover. Without a unique ticket, 75% is distributed to winners with 25% added to the jackpot. Win big with the Empire 6. Next mandatory payout date, Sunday, October 27th. Visit nyra.com/Empire6 for complete details.
What constitutes a promising stallion? Speed? He's still the fastest tappet ever around 2 turns. Pedigree? He's got the strength of the founding fathers, top and bottom. And he's passing that strength on. With 2 graded stakes winners and 3 TDN rising stars from his first crop, he's one of the leading freshman sires in the country. Constitution. He's the son of Tappet we've all been waiting for.
A wall of horses before the favorite as the field turns for home. Mission approved in front. English Channel will have to try to squeeze through on the inside. Oh, it's so tight. Here comes Stream of Gold on the outside. But here comes English Channel with a determined run through on the fence. Stream of Gold there on the outside. And English Channel has just muscled his way to victory in the Joe Hirsch Turf Classic Invitational.
English Channel 2007 male turf champ, repeated in the United Nations, repeated in this race in the Joe Hirsch Turf Classic, would go on to finally break through in the Breeders' Cup Turf in a big way, winning by 7 lengths that year.
Here over the bog at Monmouth Park, he crushed that day.
Dylan Thomas, was that the Euro that
Yeah,
didn't handle the
might have
turf
been,
at all?
yeah.
The Aiden O'Brien horse, the Coolmore horse?
Yeah, you don't realize that he made $5 million on the racetrack. That's crazy.
He ran forever.
Yeah.
He really had an amazing career. Couldn't beat Shakespeare, though. I think he was second to Shakespeare in the Joe Hirsch.
And he turned out to be a good
2006,
sire because, you know, when synthetic got really, really hot, he was still running. If synthetic was still going like it was, he would have been even a better sire. But he's done really well.
Well, that 5-year-old campaign, it was incredible. In fact, he started out that year just missing a world record at 1 1/8 in his debut at Gulfstream, where he set a new track record and then went on, as I mentioned, to win the United Nations, Joe Hirsch, and then the Breeders' Cup Turf. English Channel, named in his honor, coming up here as you look at the big favorite, Front Run the Fed, 5-2 as that price continues to come down.
Yeah, he's going to be lower. And listen, we can keep talking about it and keep saying the same things. He's just really turned it around. He was very unremarkable late last year. I mean, didn't run badly, but nothing to be excited about. He broke his maiden fairly well. His first start as a 3-year-old, but then he had that crazy race here. I can remember the 3 of us, it was a long time ago, watching it here, and all of us were just sort of in awe. Over 5 months ago now, is you just don't see horses win by 13 lengths on the turf.
It was devastating, and then he backed that up with a win in the Better Talk now at Saratoga. Now it's back to Belmont. Let's head downstairs, get a paddock report, check in with Maggie Wolfendale.
And guys, we'll check in with that prohibitive favorite in here, and that is number 6, Front Run the Fed, as he has steadily become a better looking, stronger horse than what he was going back to that first race off a bit of a break at Aqueduct. And still, he's rattled off 3 wins in a row and searching for his 4th. But, I mean, he's just more defined. His coat looks better. He's more of a focused horse. He's going to be tough in here. I mean, I tried to look at other horses and find a reason to beat him, but once I walked into the paddock, he's a deserved favorite, at least by my eyes and my standards. As we'll take a look though at number 4, Seismic Wave, a little bit of a character difference with him, a disposition difference, relatively speaking, compared to his last couple of starts in which he was going longer. So he's turning back to the mile here today for this English Channel, and he is sharp. He has been on the muscle. He's been kicking up his heels. This is not something I've seen from him, at least in his last couple of efforts. So they've definitely gotten him a little bit fresher, a little sharper heading into this mile effort. We'll see if it makes any difference with him, as he did have a little bit of trouble, I thought, in the first turn in that Hill Prince, but then again, it was a first turn. Moving on to number 7, Halliday. Kind of the same situation with Front Run the Fed. It's just that this horse hasn't run quite as fast as that aforementioned runner, in that he's really done well throughout the year, judging back to June when he came back off that extended layoff, and his form would say that as well. You know, he's become a better horse now as a 3-year-old, but progressively throughout the year has filled out, has put on more muscle mass, all things you want to see. So I think Halliday, he's up for the challenge as he sits at 7-1, Greg, with Hall of Famer Johnny V in the irons.
Maggie, thanks. Yes, 7-1 on the Son of War front here, coming off that entry-level allowance victory at odds on here at Belmont.
Is he good enough? He's got to really step it up against Front Run the Fed, Bourbon War. Listen, I'm not taking anything away from the Son of War front. He's got great tactical speed. He's been better as a 3-year-old, but he's got to step it up a notch here.
I'm with Paul. But he's 7-1. That's why he's 7-1.
Yeah, you're getting your price if you like him. Yeah,
because he does need.
But
he
I
needs
mean,
to improve.
I think he's a horse who's on the improve.
Well, he's had ideal circumstances in his races. He has not had a single tough trip. Last time out, he was on top of a fairly moderate pace. The time before that, same situation. So he's facing tougher horses, and he's coming off of good trips. He's not a horse I would bet on, but listen, if you like him, 7-1, I guess is fine.
Meanwhile, to his outside, Bourbon War ran very good in the Better Talk Now. I think a lot of us liked him that day. What happened in his next start in the Hill Prince?
Well, it was a no-pace race. You know, they went 50-4, 150-1. Nobody gained any ground whatsoever, besides a little bit by digital age and seismic wave. But nobody. I mean, they basically it was a merry-go-round race, and he was given no chance. Much different scenario. You've got pace in this race. It's a one-turn race in the Widener, so he'll get his chance to make a run. And there's an argument he ran every bit as well as Front Run the Fed when they met in the Better Talk Now, and he's clearly shown I think he's a turf horse. I can forgive his last race.
There he is.
Yeah, if you forgive his last race, he's right behind Front Run the Fed. That was his first time ever on the turf, and it was a very good effort. And I could see what Jose Lezcano was thinking. He was like, okay, we're going to the Hill Prince. This is a horse that likes to run his races backwards from way out of it. Let's not take him out of his style, but they just went very, very slow up front. And if you look, Mark Hennig tried to get this horse on the turf first time out. He won, and then boom. Okay, let's try the Derby Trail. Yep. Not a bad fourth. Wins an optional. Let's go to the Fountain of Youth. Second, the Code of Honor. So this horse, I think, outdid himself on the dirt as a 3-year-old, and he started fading away a little bit. And let's try a turf, and he ran a good race in the turf.
But you're right. I mean, it's funny. Mark Hennig entered the turf, and he was not an MTO that day. He was definitely entered for the turf, and he fooled him a little bit. Yeah. And he ran well, and so he ended up changing his plans, and it worked out well. But you're right. At the end of the day, he's now running on the surface he was actually meant for. And the best race that he has ever run, I know he ran second to Code of Honor, but he had a very good trip today. The best race he's ever run, I thought, was 2 races back when he finished second behind Front Run the Fed. And I can absolutely excuse his last race because of the pace. It's my top pick.
Gets another crack at Front Run the Fed this afternoon. Luis Saez was aboard that day. He's back on board today. As you got to look there at Irad Ortiz Jr., he's on a big long shot in this race in Digital Footprint, who's going to be showing some early pace in this race.
The pace is going to be key in here. You're right. Digital Footprint, Holiday should show some pace.
Call Me Harry's going to be
Call Me Harry.
Front by as much as he wants.
Yeah, and then you have the horse on the inside, Power Player, who probably will sit that pocket trip. We'll see how good he is, though, today, the gray.
He got about as good a ride from Joel Rosario, that's Power Player, in his last start, as I think it's possible to give a horse. He somehow managed to never stop riding him forward despite being caught in traffic down the inside in the stretch. So when he was able to finally get that seam, the horse had never lost his rhythm.
Here comes our post parade for the English Channel. Purse of $100,000, and here's Power Player. Jason Service, Javier Castellano.
Takes a step up for the same trainer that has maximum security and same owners as well off a perfect trip win. It's going to be tough here.
Chile in charge. He won a stakes race by 12 lengths. It was taken off the turf at Parks.
Yeah, Parks. And they got him on the turf course here at Belmont, the 6th front race in the Allied Forces. He earned a good second to Uncle Benny, and then not so good. He needs to improve today.
Call Me Harry, speedster stretching out for the first time. He's undefeated 2 for 2.
Took a huge step forward in his second start, but now he tries not only more distance, but much tougher company.
6-1. Seismic Wave, Bill Mott, he's battle-tested. He's taken on some tough ones.
He really has. I mean, obviously, he's been in the Belmont Derby, the Pennine Ridge, the American Turf. A lot of tough spots. His race in the Saranac I thought was okay. You look way back when, he did lose to Holiday in his second start.
This horse used to be with Chad Brown, with Klarovich Stables, was claimed by Steve Asmussen.
Yes, there's a reason he's 21-1. He's overmatched on paper.
Favorite front run the Fed for those aforementioned connections: Chad Brown, Klarovich, and a son of Fed Biz.
Yeah, the son of Fed Biz. Fed Biz stands for 10,000. They paid 300,000 for him, so obviously he's a good looker.
Warfront Colt at 7-1 on the board. Halliday's won 2 of his last 3. The defeat, he missed by a neck.
He's a horse who can be somewhat forward. He'll have to chase Call Me Harry. We'll see if he's good enough.
And Bourbon War to the outside at 7-2. Just missed against Front Run the Fed. 2 starts back in that Better Talk Now.
And you can understand why they wanted to get him on the turf. Artie Schiller on the bottom side. They paid $410,000 for the son of Tappet, and he right now is your second choice.
With more on Bourbon War, let's check in again with Maggie Wolfendale.
I'm pleased to be joined by his trainer, Mark Hennick, here. And Bourbon War, Mark, as Andy was saying, a horse that you always intended to run on the turf. You tried to first time out. Thing is, he won on the dirt. And then now for the latter half of this 3-year-old campaign, we see him on this surface. Was this just kind of the plan all along?
Well, we knew we had it in our back pocket, or we felt like we did, you know, but we kind of wanted to see through those races. He won that allowance race at Gulfstream. You know, a 3-year-old wins a 2-turn allowance race at Gulfstream early in the meet, and then he ran well in the Fountain Youth, so we were kind of stuck on that plan. But, you know, I think as the distances got further, his need for grass got more exposed.
Yeah, that's true. And looking back to his last effort in the Hill Prince, going 1 mile and an eighth, now he's going 1 mile in the English Channel. He was stuck behind a really slow pace, and you could tell, you know, his rider and Jose Lascano trying to rein him back, and he didn't really want much part of that.
Yeah, it was a frustrating trip for all of us to watch. You know, he didn't get away real good. He kind of got squeezed, and then it was just, like Jose said, they just kept backing the pace up in front of him. You know, at hindsight, I would have liked to see him just go outside and go around them all, but you know, once they turned up the backside, he kind of was stuck in that U of horses and had nowhere to go for most of the race. So looks like a lot more legitimate pace here today, at least on paper.
Now, Mark, also second time with the cheek pieces. For those who don't know, explain a little bit about them. And did you notice any difference? Were you able to see any difference relative to going back to that Better Talk Now and then the Hill Prince?
Well, in the Better Talk Now, he was very erratic in the stretch up, inside, outside, responding to the whip both times, like overreacting to everything, almost like a first-time starter that day on the grass. And then we trained him in the cheek pieces. He seemed to straighten his head out and be a lot more attentive. And I thought, even though, you know, we were kind of trying to make up ground on an impossible pace last time, I thought his run through the stretch, he was running really straight and focused. So, you know, we're going to stick with him for now.
All right.
Hopefully it's the right decision.
And they're kind of like just shortcut cheaters.
Yeah, exactly. It's like, you know, you're taking away a little field of vision without putting the, you know, a full cup on there.
Well, Mark, best of luck. Thanks for talking to us.
All right, thanks, Maggie.
All right, Mark Hennig with Bourbon War. We'll see. Hopefully he gets a little more honest pace out in front of him this time around, guys.
Well, he should, with the presence of the sprinter stretching out here. Call Me Harry.
That was a combine right there. He ran like a 4.40 after that.
Call Me Harry could fall down at the start and still get the half mile considerably faster than they went last time.
If you take the little things out of that, I wish he would have just went around horses. I think he's very, very confident with the 8 here.
Well, why wouldn't he have they've just been more aggressive from the start? I mean, the problem is that too many people, and I'm not pitting this on Mark or on Bourbon War particularly, just decide we're going to rate as opposed to getting their position based on how the race is being run. And that's why you find those paces. And also the dynamics of 1 mile and an eighth on the inner turf, his last race, and 1 mile around 1 turn the wide are just so different. These 1 turn mile races are always going to feature fast paces because they start in that long straightaway effectively. So they're going to get more speed going, and it helps the closers because you don't get hurt by being wide in the turn, so he can make that big run and much more easily. So this race is going to be much more conducive to his running style, and for some reason we're walking about Call Me Harry.
Well, here's Call Me Harry. So here's the sprinter who's had 2 sprints. He's undefeated. He's 2 for 2. He's stretching out. He's going to be in front likely by himself. Can he handle the mile? The big question in here.
Yeah, I mean, it's a tough situation because they're doing two things at once. They're facing significantly tougher company, and they're trying to go 5/16 of a mile farther. So he might be able to handle a mile, but I don't think he's going to handle this field going a mile, Paul.
Yeah, that might be the issue. He's going to be in front. I do like that Kelsey's given this horse enough time since August 23rd and been working this horse at Monmouth, and came here and got maybe some stamina workouts with the 6 furlongs. Street Sense or Bernardini mare, you would think, but with that blazing speed, how long can he last? We'll see. There's going to be some horses running, but he's going to be in front.
Yeah, and you know, he's eligible for non-winners of 2 New York Red Race, though they're tough to find going sprint distance, especially this time of year, but he could also run against open horses, non-winners of 1.
We should mention we're almost there. Empire 6 jackpot carryover. It begins in this race. If it moves to Sunday, if there's not one unique winning ticket, mandatory payout on Sunday, tomorrow, for closing day of the meet.
Yes, and I've already submitted a couple tickets.
For tomorrow?
Yeah.
Okay. So you're assuming it's carrying?
Paul, you're going to bet on that, against that 1,000,000 to 1 shot that somebody hits it? 1,000,000,000 to 1 shot?
I played it today.
How many combinations think aren't even covered at least twice?
That's true. I played it today already.
Did you?
Yeah, I played it just in case.
Why?
All right, so we'll see what happens.
I can give you the reasons, but that's not a discussion.
Tomorrow could be a lot of fun. It's paid tremendous when there have been those mandatory payouts. Let's check in again as we get close here to the start of this English Channel with Maggie.
I want to check in with number 3, Call Me Harry, who I like and have a lot of respect for as a New York bred. But it's kind of funny when you think about it. You know, if they would have taken a shot, let's say, not that they would have just because of the timing wise, but in the Better Talk Now. Not that race was wired, but if it was the inner turf course up at Saratoga going a mile, I'd be a little bit more apt and a little more confident to say that he'd be able to handle this. He's just, as you can see, he's really built downhill. So those hindquarters, the point of his hips are at a more elevated point than the point of his shoulders. So there's more of an angle there. And yeah, it's a good influence with Street Sense, but I don't know, in the face of some really nice horses, I think he's really up against it. And the fact that he's a shorter price, at least as of now, to Halliday is kind of making me scratch my head a little bit, to be honest. So we'll see what Call Me Harry does, as this is by far the most fit I've seen this horse look, though, as a positive note. But Bourbon War, for all the reasons that Mark talked to us about and the case that Andy has made for him, he's ultimately going to be my pick in here. He looks sensational. I've always thought he was a turf horse, and Mark was right. When he actually was set down and his head was turned loose to run last time, he did run straighter with those cheek pieces, as we see there, the sheepskin colored pieces on the other side, on the sides of his bridle there. So just really kind of blocking out a little bit of his vision, because horses almost not necessarily that 360-degree vision, but they see a lot more peripherally than what we do. So just blocking a little bit out there. And I think, yeah, Greg, Bourbon War. We'll see if he can upset Front Run the Fed.
All right, he gets another chance to try and run him down. He was unable to do so in the Better Talk Now. That was his turf debut, talking about Bourbon War. Can he get it done here this afternoon? Of course, that was at Saratoga, 2 turns, trying to do it around 1 turn here.
Yeah, I mean, I'm a fan of Front Run the Fed, and I do think he's the horse to beat. I thought I'd get better than 3 to 1 on Bourbon War, to tell you the truth. I don't think he's any great shakes at his current 3 to 1. I think they're the 2 horses. They along with Seismic Wave. I feel like one of those horses is supposed to win. And this will be an interesting test to find out just how good Front Run the Fed is.
Here's the English Channel. Kicks off the Empire 6. Front Run the Fed, the favorite. Here's the voice of New York Racing for the call, Larry Colmus.
They're off in the English Channel. And it is Call Me Harry out for the early lead. Digital Footprint came out running in second, with Halliday out third on the outside, then Power Player, followed by Front Run the Fed and Bourbon War. Break of another 4 lengths more, back to Chilean Charge, and Seismic Wave is last. Moving right along here, Call Me Harry and Manny Franco up top. Leading the way by a half a length over Halliday in second. Front Run the Fed is taken third after 23.36 quarter. Power Player goes up in between horses. Digital Footprint is fifth on the inside. And right in that group 2 is Bourbon War, who's outside of horses and 3 from the front. Seismic Wave has gone by Chilean Charge at the rear of the field. So they make their way into the turn. Halliday pokes a neck in front. On the inside is Call Me Harry, fighting on second by 2. Then Bourbon War alongside of Front Run the Fed. On their inside, it's Digital Footprint, Power Player. Now 5 from the front, then Seismic Wave. And the trailer is Jillian Charge after a 46.54 half. Around the far turn, Halliday on the outside. At the rail, it's Call Me Harry. The two of them will turn for home 1-2, and Front Run the Fed comes up there 3 wide. Bourbon War 4 wide. Chilean Charge on the far outside has made a bid from the back of the pack under heavy pressure, but continues to come up alongside these front runners. And Seismic Wave is closing down the center with strong strides. Here comes Seismic Wave in the middle of the course. Halliday fights on from the inside. Front Run the Fed between horses. They're coming down to the line, and it is Seismic Wave to beat Front Run the Fed, and Halliday was third.
Seismic Wave wins for the 3rd time on turf, and Bill Mott is having a sensational Saturday.
And he was much the best. I mean, there were a couple of things against him. First of all, he got left. Second of all, this wasn't a fast pace. And as you can see, the pace completely held together in this race. Front Run the Fed, because of the slower pace and being closer, he didn't have that big punch that he's normally had. Tough trip for Bourbon War, sort of hung out to dry behind the slower pace, but boy, Seismic Wave, when he got out in the clear, he ran.
No, he did, and the good part about it is Jose Ortiz kept him out in the middle of the racetrack, and Front Run the Fed could never see him and compete against him, because you could see Front Run the Fed's like, he puts the 2-way Chilean Charge, who made a giant effort here at 67-1 at one point, but he could never really put away Holiday, who ran a giant race. Holiday pressuring Call Me Harry the whole way, and I thought ran very, very well. But Seismic Wave, 9-2 to start your empire off.
3-win day through the first 5 races for Hall of Famer Bill Mott. Seismic Wave, son of Tappet for Juddmonte Farms. Gets the job done here in the English Channel. First defeat of his 3-year-old campaign for Front Run the Fed. And yeah, Halliday runs a big one as well in defeat. But this one goes to Seismic Wave. 3-time winner now on the turf. We'll be back with the prices set up the 6th when we return.
Warfront. This son of Danzig ranks among the world's elite sires. With Grade 1 winners on dirt and turf, and star performers both at home and abroad, Warfront's success as an international super sire is unmatched. Recent Grade 1 winners include Omaha Beach and Preakness Stakes hero War of Will. In the sales ring, his $2.4 million sale topper at Keeneland September was the highest price yearling sold in North America last year. Warfront, standing at Claiborne Farm.
It's been home to some of the sport's biggest moments, monumental achievements, and extraordinary records. At Santa Anita, we'll set another before the first gate even opens, as the Breeders' Cup returns for a record 10th time. This November, the stars will shine. Champions will be crowned. And when the unbelievable happens, you'll want to be there to see it. The Breeders' Cup World Championships.
It's America's original sport, and no one covers it better than americasbestracing.net. From the sport to the lifestyle, the best races, horses, and destination venues, cocktails, gambling, fashion, and more. americasbestracing.net is a sport for you. Live it, love it, bet it.
Racetrack Television Network brings you every race, from every track, on every screen, every day. With monthly packages starting as low as $5, RTN gives you great value and access to more live HD streaming and race replays than anyone. Visit RTN.tv today to sign up and watch on almost any device, including Roku and Amazon Fire. Use promo code TRYRTN for a 5-day free trial.
Back on America's Day at the Races on Fox Sports 2. Our show brought to you in part by Claiborne Farm. 100 years of doing the usual, unusually well. English Channel in the books, and Seismic Wave in the familiar silks of Juddmonte Farms for Hall of Fame trainer Bill Mott with Jose Ortiz.
Yeah,
first across the wire.
Yeah, congratulations to the connections here. Like you said, Judd Tapit, Colt of the Naba Mare conference call, gets the job done. Your favorite second, Holiday third, and not Charles in charge with Scott Baio, but Chili in charge rounds out that superfecta.
Nice Scott Baio reference. Early pick five, 7,191. We have a late pick five coming up next. But what a performance here from the son of Tapit. Seismic Wave gets the job done, and wide trip in here. And early on, noticed that, and I asked you about it, front run the Fed, throwing his head around a little bit in here.
Yeah, I think.
What do you think about him going forward?
Well, we'll see. I think he was trying to get cover. He was out 3 wide and out in the clear and probably kind of uncomfortable. Weren't going that fast up front. I think he ran fine. He just lost to a horse that ran a better race.
Let's head downstairs and check in with Maggie Wolfendale.
I'm pleased to be joined by assistant trainer to Bill Mott, Leanna Williford. And Leanna, what a day you're having, topping it off with your third winner on the card. And it's only race 5 in the English Channel with Seismic Wave. Cutting back, Leanna, I noticed how sharp he was in the paddock.
Yeah, he's been doing quite well. And the idea was that he'd have more pace to run into. We've been trying him in the longer races, and it's, with no pace up front, it's kind of taken away from his kick, that he hasn't been able to, pick him up.
Yeah, it kind of seems like he gets there and then he doesn't have that punch going longer.
I always think that with those types of horses that, we just need to run them longer and then they'll get there. But some of them, if you cut them back, they can hang out the back, they got a fast pace, and then they have their run and they're more useful.
Is he a horse that, he's competed in most of the 3-year-old kind of big turf races that we've had. Is he a horse that you keep more at this distance going further? Is he going to run further down the line as well during the winter?
I would assume so, yes, as long as he stays good, and he's won twice at a mile now, his 2 stake wins, so, I don't think that we should change it too much.
Well, congratulations on a huge day. You had 2-year-old winners in the first 2 races, and topping it off here in the English Channel with Seismic Wave.
Thank you very much.
All right, guys, Leanna Williford, they're having a pretty good week, I would say. I've caught up with her twice this week, Greg. The Mott Barn in Fuego.
Yeah, and as mentioned, 3 wins this afternoon in the opener today. A look of a really nice 2-year-old Forza Dioro who figured out how to get out of the gate.
Yeah, that was a big thing, especially breaking from the rail. And Tiesto in the Awad, the 9th race today, is the favorite for Bill Mott off a win in his debut. They could win 4 today quite easily.
And they had a first-time starter on the turf that won as well.
$500,000 New York bread.
Yeah.
Late pick 5, it starts right here. 1 1/8 inner turf, maiden special weights in Multhiel. Christophe Clement, Jose Ortiz, start number 9, trying to get that first victory this afternoon.
Running out of chances for me.
Tiberius Mercurius.
I prefer Tiberius Mercurius, the horse with experience. How about
my favorite name on the
race?
racetrack?
How about Hale, Michigan? First time in the grass. They got one on the turf. She's a half the U.S. Ranger who's a sire.
They got a Notre Dame today. Are you hailing Michigan?
I don't know. Whoever Notre Dame is playing against, I'm rooting for. On any day, anywhere, anytime. So.
How did I know that? Well, if you didn't go there, I think everyone's rooting against him, right?
Yeah, I guess so. That's what it works, yeah.
We're going to take a break. We'll be joined by New York Racing Association President and CEO Dave O'Rourke to talk about a tremendous 2019 at Saratoga and what's next in 2020 right after this.
I think Run Happy has a lot of things going for him. Obviously, he's been very respected, and to give people further incentive to buy them for where they can take an offspring, run it, and if they win, they're going to get a $100,000 bonus for each Run Happy they have. It's another selling point from our perspective that really helps us promote the horses that we're representing and we're selling.
Run Happy, standing at Claiborne Farm.
No sport in the world brings the wins home like racing. It's one-of-a-kind, high-speed, high-stakes action, and Naira Bets takes you there. Place your bets and watch the races live from anywhere. With Naira Bets, make easy, secure deposits and promotions every day to earn reward points or cash. Download the Naira Bets app or visit NairaBets.com. New members earn up to a $200 deposit match and $25 risk-free Breeders' Cup bet with promo code BC19.
Mastery retired undefeated, winning his 4 starts by a combined 20 lengths. A 6-figure September sale purchase, he won impressively in his 2-year-old debut at Santa Anita. From there, he captured the Grade 3 Bob Hope Stakes and completed his juvenile campaign with a dominant performance in the Grade 1 Los Alamitos Futurity. At 3, the top-rated son of Candy Ride sizzled in the San Felipe. Now his much-anticipated first crop has arrived. Mastery, standing at Claiborne Farm.
Back on America's Day at the Races here on Fox Sports 2. Our show brought to you in part by the champion sprinter Run Happy. Raced his entire career medication-free and never lost while sprinting. We're going to see his offspring hitting the racetrack in 2020. And we look forward to that. Of course, the $100,000 bonus on the line at Saratoga as well. Joining us on set, good to have you with us, President and CEO Dave O'Rourke. Thanks for spending some time with us.
Thanks for having me on.
It has been a pretty tremendous 2019, and I'm sure a whirlwind for you. So much, even just at Saratoga, took place. The opening of the 1863 Club, which was a tremendous success. First time ever, all sources handled, top $700 million at the Saratoga meeting. What were you most proud of for the Saratoga meet?
Oh, well, actually, the employees, just getting the place open, getting that 1863. It's the first time we put in a new building in a generation, really, and you know, literally the paint was wet when we opened the doors, but you know, our whole team, we got it done, and it was big. And then you know, we set the handle record. We did it on 39 days. We had that one cancellation. You know, the heat index looked like it was going to be pretty bad that day. We made an early decision, and it all worked out well. I mean, Saratoga's, you know, when you're in the game like we are, I mean, that's the pinnacle. That's why you do this.
I thought your best decision was getting it to not rain this summer. I think if you could manage to keep that going for a few years, you could be really heroic.
Yeah, well, you know, I try.
It's not easy, but
record Whitney Day, record Travers Day, and of course shifted, tried something new.
Yep.
With the earliest ever start time in modern times of that July 11th start date at Saratoga. Looking at adjusting things at all for next summer in terms of the dark days?
No, we're going to do the same. It'll be the same schedule. We had a meeting with the business community up there after the meet, and we felt like, and they agreed, the consistency of the 2 dark days. Let's keep it the same for the next year and see how it plays out. You know, the records are hit really because of the product and the content, and you know, we have to thank the horsemen for that. I mean, those days it's wagering, and it's all about what's on the track, really. So,
Saratoga Live. Obviously, Andy Serling was a huge success and part of that show. But over 190 hours of programming from Saratoga Live this year. Viewership, I believe, increased by 140%. What's the plan for 2020?
Same. You know, we really have to thank our partners at Fox, and actually specifically Mike Mulvihill for, you know, I've known Mike for several years, and, you know, he's been our champion over there. And we worked on this concept, and Andy's been part of some early conversations, and the ability to show racing every day on a major network and the consistency. And I mean, you guys, the amount of hours that you guys put in here, and it's huge. And it gives us a platform for the sport that we really haven't been afforded before. And we also have to thank, you know, the fans and the sponsors, because they're supporting this, and it's working. And you know, we'll have more hours next year, actually. So, you know, we're looking forward to it. You know, we're wrapping up here at Belmont, but I mean, you guys should all be proud of what you do here and the amount of time that you put into this.
the Islanders arena, which is obviously coming a ways here, and it's obviously a big thing on people's mind. You could say it's a good thing that they weren't building the arena because we actually got to stay here for the whole 2 months, and it ended up not disrupting our schedule. We went back to regular post times. What's going to happen next year?
Well, next year for the Belmont Stakes, for instance, like we'll lower the cap to 75,000 from 90, just to be conservative. You know, we've lost a little bit of the backyard, but you know they've been great to work with. We actually anticipate we might have to get out of here earlier, and you know the construction team over there and the Islanders, the whole group have been great with us. I mean, you've hardly noticed it. I mean, if you can see on there's the amount of activity, and you know the lucky thing is they're digging in sand, and that's. It's actually been quite quiet.
Lucky for them.
Yeah.
Hasn't really affected me.
It's been amazing how much progress they've made. It seemed to really have a limited impact in terms of racing here. And in terms of next year, Belmont Stakes on track, so it's going to take place here.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
Okay.
Yeah, we're in the middle of planning for that right now. I mean, like I said, we'll just lower the cap a little bit just to make sure that everyone has a good time. But, yeah, everything points to go.
Well, it's been a tremendous, I'm sure so much you kind of had to learn on the fly as you've been in here. What do you think since you've taken over and had all these changes coming in and dealing with a new arena being built in your backyard as well? What has been the biggest challenge for you in terms of stepping into this role?
Oh, it's been a lot of fun. You know, I've been
doing
here
these interviews.
You know, I've been here for over a decade, so I've been in the background quite a while, quite a lot. But yeah, actually being a little bit more out in front, doing interviews, things like that, becoming a little bit more of a public face in terms of the community relations and whatnot. It's been exciting. It's a transition, and you know, I've enjoyed it. I love the sport, and it just gives me an opportunity to, you know, how do we map up the future of the game? And like this TV show actually is a big part of that.
And also getting on Fox Network broadcast national television for the first time ever with the Travers this summer. That was a first as well.
It was, and you know, I have to actually, for Tony Alivato, I give him a shout out for that. I mean, we actually produced that show in-house, obviously with a lot of support from Fox, but the ability for us to do that, to get it onto the broadcast network, and you know, and you guys didn't mess up.
Not screw it up,
yeah,
right?
you didn't screw it up.
That
so
bad.
yeah.
1.3 million viewers nationwide for that program, so pretty tremendous. Plan to do it again next year?
I hope so, yeah.
You actually had an appearance in front of more people about a month ago.
Oh, that's right, yeah. At the Red Sox
Yeah.
game. Yeah.
Final regular season game for the Red Sox at this historic ballpark. And what were you thinking here? Do I go fastball or slider? What was going through your head?
Don't screw it up. Just don't screw it up. Yeah. It's probably the first time that I'd thrown a baseball.
The fans were chanting his name. You can't really tell from the video, but it was a
So,
loud roar.
I mean, this is a big moment. Did you spend any time practicing or working on? I would be so nervous stepping out there on
he
the
wanted
mound.
me to throw
Your
with him.
game face was on.
The biggest joke of all.
Actually, one of the things, you look how excited, oh, they don't show it, how excited Andy was for me when he came back.
It was an emotional moment for me.
We heard actually when you walked off, you weren't even, did you even watch him throw the ball?
I was videotaping it. I mostly got my foot, but I did manage to get a little bit of Dave throwing. And I have a video of it. Yeah, did.
No, it was a really fun trip. I was invited up there by Seth Klarman, one of our largest owners, to meet Sam Kennedy, the president of the Red Sox. There's a lot of synergies between Fenway and Saratoga. You know, they're historic venues. What they've done up there is amazing. I'd never been there. You know, I grew up a Yankee fan, so it was a little bit of mixed emotions, but it's a beautiful venue. It really is. If anyone hasn't been, like, I'd say that is one of the places in U.S. sports.
Maybe this Saratoga of baseball stadiums?
Well, you know, places like Wrigley, places like Fenway, but also we have a tremendous fan base in Boston as well.
Yeah.
I mean, so if you go to Saratoga, there are probably more people from New England than there are from the New York area.
Yeah, it's close. Yeah, it's definitely close.
We saw so many big changes at Saratoga this summer. Is next year more just kind of continuing to do more with 1863 Club and all those things?
Yeah, you know, we'll expand out. There might be some small changes. There's nothing as dramatic as that building coming. You know, hopefully we'll get 40 days in this year. And, yeah.
Hopefully for who? I kind of like the Saturday off. I don't know. I can't speak for the others.
But, yeah, it'll be good.
All right, well, tremendous job.
Thank you.
Look forward to another tremendous season next year with all the NYRA racetracks. Of course, we have Aqueduct opening as well next weekend. Day and a half left here. We're not done just yet. Dave O'Rourke, President and CEO of New York Racing Association. Thanks for joining us. We're going to take a short break. We'll be back. Late Pick 5 coming up next for 14 minutes to post. They're on this final Saturday of the meet in Elmont, New York. Stay with us.
since Danzig has a stallion seen this much early success. He's not just setting records, he's making history. The best started stud ever. Uncle Mo, the momentum continues.
Whether you have Derby dreams or Midsummer Derby dreams, this is Tom Durkin to tell you a registered New York bred can take you there.
Diversify!
That New York bred Exact and the Whitney by multimillionaires Diversify and Mind Your Biscuits shows the kind of quality that allowed New York breds to earn more than $93 million on the world stage last year. On-track successes have spurred New York bred sales result. At the March OBS sale, Chestertown sold for $2 million. And this New York bred 2018 yearling brought $1 million at Saratoga. So get with the program at nybreds.com.
I think the bonus is really interesting. Mr. McInvale, as usual, is thinking outside the box, doing a wonderful job promoting his horse. Buyers will really appreciate having an opportunity like that to come back and run their horses at these top tracks and earn that bonus.
It's a wonderful incentive both for people in the market and people that own these horses. And I mean, what a great bonus it would be for anybody that wins. I think it's wonderful.
Run happy, standing at Claiborne Farm.
We're gonna go traveling.
America's Day at the Races continues here. We are always brought to you in part by America's Best Racing, as we are 11 minutes out from today's 6th race. It is a maiden special weight on the turf course, 9 furlongs on the inner turf course, as we will send out a group of maidens here that is actually a fairly interesting field if you want to look past some of the shorter prices who have had their shots. And I want to take a look at a first-time turf horse. I think Andy was mentioning number 5, Hale, Michigan, as having some pedigree on the bottom side, to say the least. And now, he is by Bernardini, which isn't the greatest influence. But as an individual, this horse is big, he is strong, and he is ready for his second start of his career. I mean, he's really impressed me. And furthermore, I think he'll like the turf because the Dam did win 1 race on the turf, but also a half to U.S. Ranger and Homesman, some horses that were very successful overseas. So I like what I'm seeing from this horse. I think he could very well be a major factor here in only his second start. Now, one that has had some chances, 6th start of his career, for number 7, Tiberius Mercurius. He was actually a late scratch going back to last month here at Belmont, trying to make his second start for the Mike Maker barn, in which he acted up a little bit in the gate and pulled a shoe. So therefore he was a late scratch. Now he'll make his first start for trainer Steve Asmussen and Toby Sheets here, and he is a lot more relaxed than what he was going back to that day at Belmont, here at Belmont, I should say. And finally, a horse that's really kind of filled out, put on all the muscle mass that I was hoping to see throughout his hindquarters, his shoulder, so on and so forth. So I'm actually really liking what I'm seeing from this horse this time around, as there's 2 first-time starters occupying the outside stalls. Number 9 is Starry Decisis for Chad Brown. Bit of a kind of raw looking horse, kind of really big, heavy boned. He doesn't strike me as one that should win first time out, but then again, this is 9 furlongs. He just feels like this horse is going to gallop all day. So we'll see what he does as Jonathan Thomas sends out number 10, Box and Score, a horse that has moved around quite a bit. Started off here at Belmont, then went to Saratoga for work, then went to Monmouth, now back here at Belmont. So a really interesting work tab as I look at this guy, but well spotted in this position. Son of Lemon Drop Kid, the full sister, was good on the turf. Just might need to develop a little bit more. Just not the strongest looking individual. Greg, as we throw it back to you, great interview there with Dave O'Rourke.
Thanks, Maggie. And yeah, it's good to hear from NYRA's president and CEO and hear about a great 2019 and what's ahead for next year as well. It's going to be an interesting 6th here coming up. Box and score, Jonathan Thomas. He won with the first run on the turf just the other day. We'll see if his 10 can do it here at 9-1. Here's the 1A. This is Betterment. Mark Hennig, Kitten's Joy.
He's second off a layoff, and, I mean, he hasn't run terribly in his races, but this is not an easy spot.
Here's Superfan, start number 2, John Terranova with a son of Uncle Mo.
I think he's a little bit interesting, could be somewhat forwardly placed. He did break a little slow last time, but obviously he'll have to improve.
Bailout, he's taking play. Half his morning line, he's been in the money in 7 of 10 on the turf.
Yeah, he lost it 3-5 on the drop for Shug, who doesn't drop a lot of horses. Gets claimed. I don't understand the money on this horse.
How is he 5-1?
I don't get it.
15 or 20-1.
Best fight song in all college football?
Is that Hail Michigan?
Not for the best. Maybe if you went there.
I didn't even know there was a fight song, but I picked Hail Michigan.
Pretty darn
I'd
good.
like to see John Velasquez be aggressive first time in the turf with this horse instead of the lead. He's got the speed to get to the front. He's working well, and he's got plenty of backside pedigree, and Maggie liked him as well.
By Bernardini out of a Giants Causeway mare, debuted on dirt. Here's Malthael, Christophe Clement, and the son of Noble Mission.
Very, very consistent horse. Listen, 8 starts, 3 seconds, 3/3, been knocking on the door. Would not be surprised if he gets the job done.
3-1 on Tiberius Mercurius. Steve Asmussen taking over.
I think he's the horse to beat in this race. He's improved a little bit, a little more distance as well. He's another who can be forwardly placed.
And look who he got beat by first time out. Seismic Wave, who just won the English Channel. Azadine, Napal Chatterpaw.
Yeah, this horse ran just 9 days ago, 10 days ago.
10 days ago.
Yeah, it didn't do much. Now on the class rise, and
Be a 0 on the 26
yeah, I know. Maybe this horse is a runoff horse too, so we'll at least make the pace honest.
Starry Desisis for Chad Brown, first time out. I read Ortiz Jr. rides.
That was a better job pronouncing than I could have done. He's a 1/2 turf horse that did pretty well. Has plenty of turf pedigree. Tough post.
And the Jonathan Thomas, first-time starter, son of Lemon Drop Kid to the outside. Javier Castellano aboard for Robert LaPenta.
Yeah, cleverly named horse at the mare game. Box and score. That was Greg Wolf's strength. He can get some rebounds and then put him back in like Moses Malone. And this, I'll tell you what, this gelding by Lemon Drop Kid looks well on the racetrack. 9-1. We've seen Jonathan winning some races of late.
My game was more like a center. Unfortunately, my body was not built for it. Here's the 6. Amalthael, our current favorite. Christophe Clement, Jose Ortiz, and he has had plenty of opportunities. Ran, against DeMarshall Yeh on the turf near the end of his 2-year-old campaign.
Good governance. He's running against a lot of Chad Brown runners. But you start wondering, right, they've taken him to the lead. They've taken him from behind. Like I said, he's knocking on the door. I would not be surprised if he wins this race, but he ran his best race ever last time from way off the pace. He just seems like
doesn't get it done at short prices.
Yeah, you're right.
And it's like every time they run, every time a horse that's a maiden runs, and it's a relatively short price and doesn't win, to me, it's a black mark against him. Doesn't mean he can't win here, because obviously he can. But I think you and I have the same feeling. You want the more lightly raced horses. Horses have had less chances. He's exposed.
Yeah, just a horse who seems to have maybe more upside. But do you think getting more ground than he's ever got, 1 1/8, at least on turf, may help him?
Well, maybe it can help him.
Might not.
He might not, yeah. I mean, does he go to the front end? You don't know. There's some other horses here that have shown speed on dirt. You don't know if they're going to show speed on turf. I guess
knowing who goes to the front end around here, especially in races like this, is like a complete crapshoot. You might as well take jacks, throw them up in the air, and one of them lands first.
Sias is on bailout. And Bailout's a horse that has shown speed.
I think Hail Michigan is going to be forward. I'm not saying he's going to be in front, but he was getting an aggressive warm-up from John Velasquez. And he was just a couple lengths behind a 23.46 half in the dirt, and now he's in the right surface. You have to think this horse is going to be at least forward, if not in front.
Is the 9 at 6-1 for Chad Brown, a first-time starter, in a sort of a suspect field? Although a couple of these horses have run some big numbers. Getting dismissed at 6-1, or the other horses are okay?
I don't know. Listen, I don't know anything about this horse. I haven't spoken to Chad or anything, so I have no idea. I mean, usually they're betting more, but we've seen Chad Brown win with first-time stars. I mean, Analyze It broke his maiden by a pole here and paid $29 in his debut. So they don't have to be short prices to win. I think a lot of people were scared off by his post. I think if this horse had drawn post 2, he would probably be a much shorter price. That's a tough post going 1 1/8 here. The turn hits quickly.
And I think, you see the distance, and people say, oh, giving up experience to a lot of runners. You can't let this barn go off at that price, can you? With what he does on the turf?
You can't leave him out of the pick 5. That's just
no.
That's
I agree. And a multi-race bets, you have to have this horse somewhere in your tickets. Agreed.
Late pick 5, pool 226,000 plus, and still growing as we're 4 minutes away and looking again at Tiberius, Mercurius, and Manny Franco. Let's head downstairs to Maggie.
And another second-time starter I want to take a look at here is number 3. That is, forgetting his name, Superfan. I don't know why I was going to call him something Snap, but Superfan Ford trainer John Terranova. I didn't like this horse when he first walked into the paddock. Just he's kind of this big, lanky type of horse that just looks a bit awkward. But then he's one of those that once you put the tack on, he kind of comes up, he comes alive, and he looks much more appealing. And we'll see. He did get sharp once they did put that tack on him. So again, I'm not totally sold that well, I think he does want this type of distance because he is that big, rangy type of horse. We'll see how forwardly placed he is. He didn't show much in his first start going a mile. He just kind of ran around there, for lack of a better way to put it. Then again, that race was dominated towards the front end. So he is a bit sharper in his second start of his career. But Andy's right. Number 5 is definitely more sharp. Hail Michigan. And I don't know, guys. The more I watch this horse, the more I like him. Just as an individual, he's really, really appealing to the eye. So I'm going to go with him. Johnny V aboard.
7-1. Thanks, Maggie, on Hail Michigan. The 5 here, start number 2, gets on turf for the first time. And John Velasquez hops aboard as well for trainer Barkley Tagg.
I could see it. I mean, I can see a horse going to the front end. I can see a horse that's been working well.
Wearing Michigan State colors, by the way.
Yeah.
There's Joe Allen.
First time turf, Barkley 0 for 23, but don't let that deter you if you like the horse.
Spartan hat on.
Yeah. Taking money in a horse that can get to the front end here can be dangerous. Tiberius Mercurius has run some races from off the pace or has hit the front end, but look at the rest of this field. Not many of these horses.
Well, you mentioned Azadine, though.
Azadine's a
long shot.
Horse.
He can run off sometimes.
Well, our favorite 5-2 Tiberius Mercurius, and this was his most recent performance. It was at Saratoga, August 16th. Actually took the lead in the stretch.
Yeah, and he lost to a favored Klarovich Chad Brown horse who came back, and while he lost his next start, he improved his Beyer figure 3 points, and he's a promising horse, value engineering. Nothing wrong with this effort, and that was a barn change to Mike Maker. Now he makes another barn to the Steve Asmussen barn, of course, assistant Toby Sheets, who handles the horses in New York. But off his last race, I think he's the horse to beat off his last race and the right favorite.
By far. I mean, yeah, he is by far. Yes, it's 5-2. I thought it would be a little bit shorter, to be honest with you.
Do we know who Tiberius Mercurius was?
I was looking at it earlier. I couldn't find anything.
Oh, you couldn't?
No.
Okay.
But maybe you can find something. But you start to look at 6-1 on the Chad Brown runner, and you want to make a win bet, don't you?
Wow. I mean, at this meet, we've seen him win with horses who've been disregarded a little bit on the turn. I mean, for him, 5-1, 6-1.
Yeah.
You just can't leave this barn out. Yeah, if you're playing the late pick 5, I would not want to leave out Starry Decisis.
I'm alive in the double with the 5, so I'm going to sit with my.
Hail Michigan.
Sit with what I got. Dance the girl that brought me here.
But would you guys think Tiberius is singled on a lot of late pick 5 tickets?
A lot of people don't like to single to start, so I'm going to say no, because I think a lot of people are going to single either Magic Star in the next race. Maximum Security, people will single just because. And after that, if people are going to try to get to the last, I would think Allish will be your favorite.
You don't think the 7 will be favored in the last race?
Yeah, and the Levine horse. Yeah, you're right. Yeah, those two horses.
A Little Faith?
Yeah. That's what I use actually in my pick 5, 2-7. So, yeah, I don't know. Maybe Maximum Security, and then obviously the Chad Brown runner. I think Magic Star, Wolfie, but I could see people, listen, if you want to take a shot, 5-2 you're getting on Tiberius Mercurius, which now 2-1, more reasonable, because I thought this horse would be like 9-5.
Well, deserves to be the one to beat, and he is right now here at 2-1, but can someone step up and be a thorn in his side? Maybe that first-time starter, the 9 for Chad Brown. Maybe the horse getting on turf for the first time for Barkley Tagg, the 5, Hail Michigan. There's the Chad Brown runner for Klarovich Stables. Noble Mission out of a Giants Causeway mare. And Irad Ortiz Jr. aboard.
Yeah, what a sire, Noble Mission. What a year he's having, obviously.
I found out who Tiberius
Court of
Mercurius
Honor?
is, by the way.
Who is Tiberius?
The horse.
Oh, he was a horse?
Yeah, he's this one. That's all I think.
Yeah, I was doing the same thing. I'm like, is he like, I was thinking like he was in Gladiator or something like that, you know what I mean? Meanwhile, they're coming out with another Gladiator. It's really upsetting me, by the way. But.
Why is it upsetting you?
It's just because you can't. Why are you going to
Don't mess with perfection? Does he come back to life?
Yeah, that's what I was going to say. Like, it's got to be a precursor, I'm calling. But, Noble Mission, the obviously the sire of Code of Honor, getting dirt horses, and obviously this horse right here getting a ton of turf horses. Had a great year this year at stud.
Meanwhile, those silks brought you Catholic Boy, Grade 1 winner on turf and dirt in his 3-year-old season. Just recently announced, retired, and headed to Claiborne Farm, where he'll stand in 2020. And now a horse in those same silks making his debut for Jonathan Thomas.
What do you do with this 10, Andy? Do you would you include in your
well,
pick 5? Or
I mean, he'd be a C for me in multiple tickets to pick 5. You know, he's not anything. I mean, he's got a little bit of turf pedigree, but these are tough posts to overcome. These mile and eighth race, those outside posts are tough. Either the 9 or 10, both of them would have to likely be very good to win this race. Doesn't mean they can't. And the thing is, this isn't an easy field. It's not like these are a bunch of mediocrities and he could win just because the field isn't very good. I think you got to be a good horse to win from out there. So I'd probably use 5 and 7 as my mains and a little 6 and 9.
I think the 4 is getting bet here, Greg, half, which we both can't understand because I think that horse is going to end up being on the front end. I guess I don't know how. He's going to outrun Azadine, but I don't know why the 4 is 5 to 1.
Well, he should be 5th. I don't think people are noticing the claim. He was awful last time. He should be you're right. He should be 10. He should be 15 to 1.
Yeah. On Andy's point with the 10 box and score, that turn comes up real quick. The way they run these mile and eighth races here on the inner turf. We send it upstairs. It's the start of the late pick 5. Here's the voice of New York racing to kick things off. Larry Colmus.
Last one to come up here, box and score. And Javier Castellano, one of the 2 first-time starters moving in. And they're all in line. They're off. Box and score was slow to start. A good beginning for Azadine and Tiberius Mercurius in plenty of competition to their inside. A scramble for the front, and it will be Betterment who emerges up top. Taken on by Superfan, Hail Michigan in behind them, and right alongside of them is Malthael as they head to the backstretch, and now Azadine is going up outside and making a move for the lead as they sort into position to the backstretch, and now it's Azadine to the front. Taking over from Superfan, who's second by 2.5 lengths. Betterment is 3rd, Malthael on the outside 4th, Hail Michigan is 5th, Tiberius Mercurius 6th. Break of 2.5 back to Bailout, and 5 lengths more back to Stare Decisis and Box and Score. The opening quarter mile was 23.64 seconds, and Azadine has now moved away to a 7-length lead on the backstretch. Azadine speeding along here in the clear from Superfan and Betterment. And then it's Malthael running in 4th, about 10 lengths off of this lone front runner. Hail Michigan and Tiberius Mercurius behind them. And then it's back to Bailout, followed by the 2 trailers, Stare Decisis and Box and Score. 47.41 was that half mile for front-running Azadine, whose lead is down to 4 lengths. Superfan and Betterment are coming after him now. Azadine's thrown in the towel. He's had enough. Betterment's going to grab the lead first as they make their way to the top of the stretch, but plenty of competition coming as they turn for home. Betterment off the turn, Tiberius Mercurius, Superfan. Here's Box and Score moving with Malthael between horses, and Box and Score is just charging from the back of the pack. This first-time starter comes up alongside of Tiberius Mercurius and Betterment and grabs the lead. And it's Box and Score in a good-looking debut here. Won it by 1.5 lengths. And then it was Betterment, Tiberius Mercurius, and Stare Decisis.
Oh boy, Jonathan Thomas, Robert LaPenta. Catholic Boy to stud. Have they reloaded here with an impressive first-time starter, Box and Score? Horse had been working with Catholic Boy.
An interesting race because the long shot running off made it easier for the closers. This horse did not break, but the fast pace helped him. And it's an interesting effort and contrast, right? He's outside of the 9 in the turn. He goes to the outside and swings outside and gets the clear run. The 9 gets totally stymied in traffic. The other first-time starter and the clear run always seems to work out.
Yeah, and you know what ended up happening is Javier Castellano just beat Irad Ortiz to the punch. He asked for Box and Score a little bit earlier than Irad asked the 9. That was the difference in the race. If you go all the way back, the 9 was in front of the 10, had way better position. The 10 was in back, but when Castellano asked the 10, it caught Irad by surprise, and the 10 just ended up swooping, and Irad had no choice but to go inside and got stopped.
You alive, Paul?
Nope.
Jonathan Thomas does it again with a first-timer on the turf for the second time this week. And a horse who'd been working with Catholic Boy in the morning, first time out, getting his picture taken here. Box and score to kick off the late pick 5. What a debut. Prices for that Jonathan Thomas when we come back.
It only takes 20 cents to take down an Empire. The Empire 6 is the jackpot 20-cent pick 6 bet that's offered every day at Belmont Park. One unique winning ticket earns the entire net pool, plus the jackpot carryover. Without a unique ticket, 75% is distributed to winners with 25% added to the jackpot. Win big with the Empire 6. Next mandatory payout date, Sunday, October 27th. Visit nyra.com/Empire6 for complete details.
Run happy, standing at Claiborne Farm.
Piranha, the leader in fly control and wipe and spray products, now has premium equine grooming products. Introducing Aloe Pro Shampoo, an organic concentrate enriched with vitamins A, D, and E, and silk protein. Piranha Detangler, a dry comb-through detangling spray that conditions, moisturizes, keeping tail and mane manageable. And Shine Baby Shine, a water-based coat conditioner that leaves a show ring shine every time. Visit piranhaeat.com to see our full line of equine products, and for a limited time, use promo code NYRA to receive a 10% discount on your order. Piranha on, pests gone.
Back on America's Day at the Races. And that's a look at the trip for your winner. The first-time starter boxed and scored going wide around the turn to get the win.
A good job of handling there, going wide. You can see the horse on the rail. Just getting blocked a little bit, but Jonathan had this horse ready. These two horses were dead last, and sort of swooped by the field. This is going to be a pretty good group of horses right here.
Yeah, and I think you made very good points, Paul, when you were talking about when Javier got the 10, because he was behind the 9. And even though he didn't lose that much more ground, because he was only 3 wide in the turn while the 9 was 2 wide, but because he was outside him and kept him in, it made it easier for him to go around. He didn't lose a lot of ground because he tipped out in the stretch, whereas the 9, he stayed inside in the 2 path, and by doing so, he got himself into traffic, and he was running towards the end. But this horse got that clean run, and you need that in the turf.
First time out, box and score connections. A Catholic Boy win with a first-time starter in 11:40, 21:60. First 2 legs. Are we going to get to Sunday?
Yes.
477,000 in the pool additionally this afternoon. See what happens the rest of the way here coming up. Wow. Impressive first time out.
Yeah, it was very impressive. Both those first-time starters. I understand the other horses ran second and third, but the 9 and 10 are both runners.
Still to come, Bold Ruler and Maximum Security making his first start since his Grade 1 win in the Haskell. 2 of the speeds taken out of the race. He has the rail. Luis Saez back aboard on a horse who has had an incredible journey in his 3-year-old season.
Yeah, he's about as talked about a horse that didn't win the Triple Crown as I've ever seen in my life. And maybe rightfully so. I haven't seen horses get disqualified in the Kentucky Derby because it never happened, at least in the betting.
Yeah, it's true, right? I mean, you go back and you look at, and he has been dominant, and I get it, and he is the horse to beat today. And you wonder if this is the chance to take a shot against them at even money on the morning line. Been working well coming into this Sunday, New Year's Day, that they debuted for 16,000. If you start looking back into his PPs and you look at the horses that he's beaten, you sort of shake your head a tiny bit.
Yeah, this is. I think this is far and away the sternest test that he's ever faced. And I don't think you can, I mean, Greg's looking at you because, and I agree, he did beat Code of Honor. But I don't think the Code of Honor that he beat is the Code of Honor that we're seeing today. And I think that's the point that you're making, Paul.
But
That's what
yeah,
I'm saying.
look,
I
all
understand
3-year-olds get bigger, they grow
Well,
into men, but he could do the same.
I don't, but see, I don't think he's gotten better. I don't think either of his race at Monmouth was better than the race the year before. I'm not saying it wasn't good, but I don't think he showed that improvement. It's a horse who was scratched in the Pennsylvania Derby 5 weeks ago with what they said was a severe case of colic. Now he's going to come back against older horses, giving them weight, as you pointed out, in his first start against olders, against some pretty good older horses, and he's going to be an overwhelming favorite. This is a horse, as a horse player, you have to bet against because he's going to be an underlay. Because if they were just named A, B, C, D, and E, and it was a Thursday in the third race, I'm not certain he would be favored. And would you agree that he would be a much bigger price?
Oh, 100%.
Yeah.
100%.
And you're taking a shot against with a different horse, but we're both betting against
I'm
him.
just telling you, besides the Kentucky Derby, I understand who he beat, whatever. Look at the other horses he beat. Bodie Express just broke his maiden at Gulfstream Park West.
Impressive.
Beat everyone
to be
that
fair,
was put in front of him.
Very impressive, Maiden.
He beat every horse put in front of him in every single start of his
Mucho
career.
Gusto got beat by Owendale, who was
except for
7
King for a
wide
Day.
in the Oklahoma Derby. I'm just
With
saying.
the exception of stumbling out of the gate in the Pegasus, when a horse who ran King for a Day ran lights out that day, by the way, with a 102 buyer. Fox Sports 2 leaving us. You can catch the rest of our show and maximum security in action at NyraBets.com. Up next on Fox Sports 2, it's the FIFA Under-17 World Cup in the English Channel. It was Seismic Wave. Bill Mott off to a tremendous Saturday afternoon. 3 wins through the first 5 races, and Seismic Wave now a multiple stakes winner. We hope you join us for the final day of the meets on Sunday. Enjoy soccer, everyone.
It's rushing ball, and she's too good. She wins the Longines just again.
Now it's a global series. The best races from all over the world, the best trainers, the best jockeys.
You can get a free entry into the Breeders' Cup, and everybody wants to run in a Breeders' Cup race.
You get your travel expenses paid for the Breeders' Cup. Automatic berth takes a lot of pressure off.
If we're considering 2 different races, and one was a win and you're in and one was a not, that would be the tiebreaker.
It's probably the best thing that's happened to racing in the last 10 years.
Breeders' Cup Challenge, win, and you're in.
It's a Motown, the son of Uncle Mo, to win the Remsen.
Motown flying, Motown will win a Thriller, Motown to win it, and Motown has won the Hollywood Derby.
Next on America's Day at the Races, Maximum Security is back. The DQ'd winner of this year's Kentucky Derby, a 2-time Grade 1 winner, hopes to make a final charge to reclaim divisional honors as the top 3-year-old in the country. And in the award, it's 2-year-olds on the turf. Tiesto, long shot winner of his debut, makes a second start of his career. And we'll preview championship weekend ahead at Santa Anita with some final works that are turning heads before the action heads out west with the Breeders' Cup. Welcome to the program. Our show brought to you in part by America's Best Racing. For the love of the race, visit americasbestracing.net today. Final weekend of action at the Belmont Fall Meet before the scene here in New York shifts to Ozone Park at Aqueduct. And it's a gorgeous Saturday afternoon here in Elmont, New York. Thanks for spending part of your day with us. Greg Wolf alongside four-time Major League All-Star Paul LaDuca, New York Racing Association handicapper, Andy Serling. Max is back. Maximum Security. He has been talked so much about in an interesting three-year-old campaign, to say the least. Crossed the wire first in the Kentucky Derby, DQ'd out of that win. He's a two-time Grade 1 winner. The last time he went one turn, he won by 18-plus lengths. What do you think of him coming back, taking on older horses in the Bold Ruler?
I think he's going to be massively overbet, and I think he's a good opportunity to bet against him, but I'm still excited to see him.
Yeah, I am too. Listen, it's his comeback race. It's a horse that everybody, I think, is looking forward to this race because he, to me, the most, not controversial horse, but most talked about three-year-old this year besides Code of Honor. But, you know, this is going to be a tough little test for him, and I think this is a good decision by Jason Service to put him into a race. It's not a layup for him. It's going to be a tough little race for him, and it'll give him some fitness for his next race.
One of the most talked about non-Triple Crown winning three-year-olds I can remember.
Right?
Yeah, I mean, people know who he is because he got disqualified in the Derby, and that does not happen.
It is our ABR race of the week. It was an historic decision that went on for over 20 minutes on Derby Day. The decision to take him down in that race had never happened before. And look, despite that happening, and I think we all agree on this set, and most in racing seem to agree, it was a justified call. He's been brilliant whenever he's lined up on the racetrack. His lone defeat in terms of someone finishing ahead of him in a race was in the Pegasus when he stumbled out of the gate at the start. Get signed up, started, play along. $25 risk-free Breeders' Cup bet. Use the promo code BC19 to take advantage. Get signed up, started, bet along with NYRABets.com. $200 deposit match for new members and that $25 risk-free Breeders' Cup bet. So take advantage. We're going to check in downstairs with Maggie Wolfendale.
Oh, this is a bit of a unique situation as in regards to the delay here, horses turned around out of the tunnel. They're now circling. The 5 and the 8 are unsaddled because somehow the tack got mixed up between Dylan Davis and John Velasquez, and the horses were wearing the wrong tack for each rider. So now they've had to take the tack back to the room, weigh in again with the correct saddles, and make sure the correct saddles get on those horses. So the rest of the field is circling here, guys. Everybody minding their business here. It's a bit of an odd situation, but everybody's handling it quite well.
All right, Maggie, thanks. I don't know if I've ever heard that one before, but as a result, we will have a slight delay, get things sorted out. In the 7th race, by the way, entry-level allowance, mile 16th on the turf, coming up here, and we will have a little bit more than what we have listed as 2 minutes to post. Track conditions are brought to you by Piranha Fly Spray, the preferred fly spray at Belmont Park, Piranha on, Pescon, main track fast. Turf condition listed as good, and the 7th race is coming up on the Widener turf course.
Can we get that shot at half of Chad Brown's head again that we had before? I kind of like that. Yeah, that was pretty good. Good job, Mitch.
Bold Ruler, Grade 3, and the Awad for 2-year-olds coming up.
Yeah, the Awad's a fun race. And Bill Mott looking for his 4th win today. He's got the favorite in there, Tiesto.
So look, a chance for everyone to catch up, reconnect a little bit. Christophe Clement, Junior Alvarado.
Christophe Clement said to Junior, this does not happen in France.
I don't think I've ever seen this, but if you
stick around the racetrack, you see it all.
We are under an equipment delay. I don't think I've ever seen that. You need a tote delay, stuff like that, but equipment delay, and yeah,
no,
there you go.
That's all of Chad, no, most of it.
We saw it during the halftime show of a Super Bowl a few years back.
Oh, it is true.
Well, that was a malfunction.
A malfunction.
What happened?
Yeah.
I don't remember that. I don't watch the Super Bowl.
And those are the benches that usually I get to sit on when I'm reporting, but they are Junior and Christophe Clement.
Yeah, well, I mean, let's talk about the summer Junior Alvarado had.
Tremendous.
Preservationist.
Yeah.
Incredible. Connections kept him on. And a Grade 1 win in the Woodward. Of course, Preservationist has just been retired.
Yeah.
We're going to take a break. We'll be back. Harry Rice making an appearance on the show, just leaving our screen. We'll be back with more. The 7th is next.
Kentucky Derby winner Orb. On the track, his runners have scored on both dirt and turf, including multiple stakes winner Autumn Warrior and Sipacan Harbor, winner of the Grade 1 Spinaway Stakes at Saratoga. On the track, Orb continues to add winners. And in the sales ring, his 2-year-olds have sold up to $250,000 in 2019. Classic winner, classic pedigree, Orb, standing at Claiborne Farm.
No sport in the world brings the wins home like racing. It's one-of-a-kind, high-speed, high-stakes action, and Naira Bets takes you there. Place your bets and watch the races live from anywhere. With Naira Bets, make easy, secure deposits and promotions every day to earn reward points or cash. Download the Naira Bets app or visit NairaBets.com. New members earn up to a $200 deposit match and $25 risk-free Breeders' Cup bet with promo code BC19.
Back on America's Day at the Races on MSG Plus. Good to have you with us. And we're getting back on track here as the equipment issues been sorted out. Horses coming onto the track here as we speak, making their way through the tunnel. Post parade coming up here in a moment for the 7th race on the turf at 1 1/16. And Magic Star, 3-year-old filly for trainer Chad Brown. She is even money off that debut win at Saratoga.
I don't get it. I don't understand what was so spectacular about her debut win that she's supposed to be no rolling favorite. I don't have a problem with her being a likeliest winner of this race, maybe around 5-2. But there are a lot of contenders in this field, and they're betting it like it's a one-horse race. I don't see it. She had a perfect trip, a fast pace, saved ground, angled out in the stretch. Second place finisher, broke his maiden 2 races later with a worse Spire speed figure. This horse might win, and maybe she'll improve, and she likely will, but she'll need to, I think.
Very, very short price. We'll talk through this entire group here in more depth in a moment. First, let's bring you the field with a post parade. On the town is at 12-1. Mark Hennig, Jose Lezcano.
I mean, for instance, this horse is 12-1. There's nothing wrong with her last effort. It was 5 months ago, which is a bit of concern, and she had a good trip that day, but she still ran well against older horses.
We jump to the 8 in here. Connectivity, Steve Asmussen and John Velasquez, the Hall of Famer, aboard.
Yeah, good claim for 75. And they jumped this horse 13 days later and got the money here at Belmont. Now they give the horse a little bit of rest.
I like this one. Daughter of Scat Daddy, Fierce Scarlet for Chad Brown, Irad Ortiz Jr.
She's never really run a bad race. 3rd last time out.
I like
Meanwhile, 10-1 on Creasy, who's been battle-tested in her career for David Donk.
Yeah, I mean, she's super consistent and runs well every time. She's a player here as well.
Madam Orb, Kieran McLaughlin sends out off a maiden score at Laurel.
Yeah, she had to go to break her maiden. Her race in New York are not competitive.
Make Me Dream, Junior Alvarado. We saw him visiting with Christophe Clement. They'll team up here.
Lightly raced horse, hasn't run in 5 months, but she kept some good company. She have to improve, but she can and likely will improve.
Turf debut for this one at 54-1. It just hit the wire.
Yeah, mizzen mast on the bottom side. Maybe you can see something there, but 54-1.
Even money favorite, Magic Star, Chad Brown, Don Alberto stable.
Yeah, it's Philly by Scat Daddy, all the rage. And I would think a lot of people have this horse singled in their pick 5s and in their Empire 6s.
Cottonwood Falls, Mike Luzzy rider change aboard for Tom Morley. Blinkers on.
Well, I'd speak for themselves, but she was on yielding turf in her last turf race.
We jump to the 2 out of trouble. Brad Cox comes in off a win with an 84 buyer at Belmont.
Yeah, you know, she was knocking on the door. She got beat by Dream Passage and finally got it done. Now she got to step it up again here.
You get English Soul as part of that 2 entry as well with Manny Franco for Ray Handel.
Yeah, out of trouble will come from a tiny bit from off of it. English Soul will probably try to use her speed. She is 8 for 12 in the exacta.
Distorted News, the 5, went to the front in her turf debut for Bruce Brown and backed up big time in Monmouth.
Yeah, she's a long shot for a reason.
67-1. Dylan Davis will ride that huge price here in the 7th. So even money, Magic Star off that 1 star. And look, she got blocked a little bit when she got to run.
This was a very fast-paced race.
She showed a pretty good turn of foot when she got loose, no? You weren't impressed?
No, she ran fine. I'm not trying to knock her. I picked her second, and once again, I'm not going to be surprised if she wins. But you're in a maiden race where they're flying up front. The pace collapses. She saved ground on the rail. She angled out smoothly. I mean, you can't get a better setup and trip than she got. And the horse that she beat, who I bet on, was a huge price, came back and ran an ineffective 4th in her next start, and she won by a nose in her subsequent start and ran worse fires in both those races. So it's not a race that's been flattered, and she had everything I felt go her own way. It doesn't mean she can't win, but I'm with you, Greg. I think the other Chad Brown horse, put it this way, who do you think is a better bet? This horse at 4-5, or Fierce Scarlet, the number 10, the other Chad Brown horse, at 7-1, who's second off a layoff, ran a reasonably fast race right in the beginning of her 3-year-old season and has every right to improve, and she was caught behind a slow pace last time and given no chance. I think she's a much better bet at 7-1.
She was 4th to Concrete Rose in the Jessamine as a 2-year-old. Let's go downstairs, check in with Maggie Wolfendale.
Loading in the gate here, so I'll go quickly on the Townswood layoff runner here. She's beautifully put together. I love what I'm seeing from her, but I think she's at a pace disadvantage as number 4, Magic Star. I have the disadvantage of not seeing her in her first race. I do love the way she was moving away from the field that day, but boy, she is not appealing to the eye. We'll see if she can back it up, that maiden score up with a win here. The 2B English Soul, hopefully, well, she gets a little more of an aggressive ride. She could be the pace setter here. She looks fine, and then Make Me Dream is going to be my pick here. I just think she looks excellent off the layoff, Greg.
Oh my God.
Loading up, thank you, Maggie. Race 7, it starts the late pick 4. Of course, up next, grade 3, Bold Ruler, the return of Maximum Security. But first things first, short price on the 4 filly. Magic Star making just her 2nd start for trainer Chad Brown. We'll find out if she can back up the short price. Let's go upstairs to the voice of New York Racing for the call. Here's Larry Colmus.
They're all in line. They're off. It just hit the wire, goes out to the early lead. Right there, 2 out of trouble, coming through on the inside on the Town, and Cottonwood Falls is up and close to the pace as well. Distorted News is right up and on the pace too. Break of another 3 lengths to English Soul on the outside. Magic Star finds herself down at the rail, 5 lengths off the lead. Then Connectivity alongside of Make Me Dream, 2 to Fierce Scarlet, then Creasy and Madame Orb. 23.61 was the opening quarter mile as they head up the backstretch, where it is on the Town in front. Cottonwood Falls a length and a half behind, running in second. Distorted News is third. It just hit the wire is 4th. And then it's Out of Trouble and English Soul together, 5 lengths off the lead, continuing up the backstretch. Magic Star races on the inside of Make Me Dream. Then Connectivity. Fierce Scarlet is down at the rail, 9 lengths from the front alongside of Creasy. Madame Orb trails through a 48.31 half mile. Racing for the far turn on the Town, 3/4 of a length. Cottonwood Falls is second. And that it's just hit the wire, 3rd on the outside as they make their way around the turn. Distorted News is 4th and riding the rail. Then English Soul in 5th. followed by Out of Trouble, Make Me Dream, Connectivity, Creasy on the outside. Magic Star is down toward the rail and racing 6 lengths off the lead. Saving ground here, but will need a way through if she's good enough. And Magic Star's behind many, many horses at the top of the stretch here. On the town in front, the leader by 2 to English Soul in second. Connectivity is third. Creasy on the outside is fourth, and they're putting in runs now. And here comes Creasy down the center. Connectivity to the front. Creasy, and on the inside it's English Soul. These 3 coming down to the wire, and it's going to be Creasy. And Creasy gets up to win. English Soul was in a photo with Connectivity, and then Fierce Scarlet.
Creasy, Eric Cancel, David Donk, and then this horse had faced so many tough horses over the course of her career. We've seen her a lot on this show. Somehow goes off at 10-1.
Well, they massively overbet the 4, who we'll talk about in a moment, but I think we talked about this in the last turf race, right? Clear outside runs in turf races. Saving ground is overrated on these Widener turf courses, and both Chad Brown horses got in trouble. The 10 should have won this race and got buried, and the 4 never had a chance to run either, but the winner got a great clear trip, Paul.
Yeah, you're right, 100%. I mean, you just can't leave these horses with that much to do, and that's what ended up happening. The first, second, and third place finishers really ran well here to the wire, but Creasy, man, now 4 wins, all 4 here at Belmont.
We have had big number after big number after big number in this Empire 6.
Yeah, and there'll still be multiple tickets.
Let's see what happens.
Won't even be close.
Creasy at 10-1. Way to build the drama.
3 tough races left.
I agree with you. Maximum Security gets beat.
If Maximum Security gets beat, there's going to be a chance there, at least a couple long shots in the last.
He returns. First start back since the Haskell Invitational for Maximum Security is next.
It's America's original sport, and no one covers it better than americasbestracing.net. From the sport to the lifestyle, the best races, horses, and destination venues, cocktails, gambling, fashion, and more. americasbestracing.net is a sport for you. Live it, love it, bet it.
Run Happy, you know, he's 16-2, he's a beautiful horse. There's stamina on top and bottom, and he's stamping his horses with that. I think they look big and fast, and like horses that'll go on and run a distance as well as short.
He was a fantastic racehorse, and if he passes on his ability as a racehorse, I think he's a slam dunk to be a great sire. Very athletic looking and beautiful bodied horse as well.
Run Happy, standing at Claiborne Farm.
Racetrack Television Network brings you every race, from every track, on every screen, every day. With monthly packages starting as low as $5, RTN gives you great value and access to more live HD streaming and race replays than anyone. Visit RTN.tv today to sign up and watch on almost any device, including Roku and Amazon Fire. Use promo code TRYRTN for a 5-day free trial.
That time at Oaklawn, win a home run. Made for a big night. Bet on your favorite teams at Oaklawn's new race and sports book. Oaklawn, a new level of action, a new level of excitement.
The thermal spring waters our city is named after are known for their legendary healing properties. Their thirst-quenching properties are pretty nice, too. Hot Springs, Arkansas. It's different here. Come see why.
Back on America's Day at the Races on MSG Plus. Good to have you with us on the final weekend of this Belmont Park Fall Meet. Big one coming up next with the return of Maximum Security, but in the 7th, Creasy at double-digit odds. Eric Cancel, David Donk scoring the upset.
Credit Eric for keeping this horse in the clear, unlike some others.
Yeah, and a great filly by Cosmo out of 3 Wonders mare. This is a true New York bred here, Creasy. Getting the job done. Look at that pick 3.
$1,176, the first 3 of the Empire 6. As we head downstairs to Maggie Wolfendale.
Here with winning trainer Dave Donk as Creasy. Dave, I mean, she's kind of garnered our admiration throughout this summer. She just shows up every time, and good to see her in the winner's circle today.
Yeah, she's had a lot of good races. I think she's an improving filly. You know, she's only 4, so, you know, Eric gave her a good ride today. I told him, don't be 15 out of it, but I guess he was 12 out of it. So it kind of maybe suits her, but she's kind of gotten back to that kick. You know, I've run her 2 turns a couple of times and against the New York bred fillies, and she's almost there. I think she'll get there next year.
So planning on stakes, giving her the winter off, and going to participate in those New York bred stakes for next year.
Yeah, I think so. You know, this is the one other than Open. Now maybe she'll get to run once more at Aqueduct, you know, and a 2 other than, and in a perfect world next year. Yeah, you know, we know there's 4 New York bred stakes, so you'd like to be able to compete in them. She's been very competitive. She was, you know, ran well with them this year, so I think backing up into this condition, hopefully it's, you know, got her a little bit more professional, and obviously a very good race today.
Yeah, no more than 4.5 lengths away from, you know, the top finishers in those New York bred stakes. And Dave, a little later on, we see the Awad Stakes, a horse near and dear to your heart.
Yeah, as a groom said to me today, he said something about me making that horse, but that horse made me. So yeah, obviously very fond memories. My claim to fame will be that I think I won the first running of it with Vision Perfect. So anyways, yeah, you know, seeing stakes named after a horse you had, you know, you're getting a little older.
No, but I completely forgot about. Thank you for that reminder with Vision Perfect. He was a cool horse himself.
Well, I don't have many claim to fame, but I'll take that one.
I do love your answering machine recording, though.
Yeah, you've reached the house that Awad bought, and that's the truth. You know, Faye and I were married 25 years ago, so so we bought a house a year later. I won the $1 million that year, and it all went to a down payment, so he bought that house.
That's so cool. Dave, congratulations to the Creasy here today as well.
Appreciate it. Thanks, Meg.
All right, guys, I love hearing that recording on the Donk residence home phone as Awad. We will pay homage to him a little bit later from now.
Yes, we will. That comes up as race 9, 2-year-olds on the turf, but up next, first things first, we're going to get to Maximum Security's return as you look at the Empire 6 follow along, trying to get one more day to a mandatory payout. That in danger right now, especially if we get an upset here in the Bold Ruler with pick 3 that's started out in that Empire 6 of over $1,100. Maximum Security, cross the wire first in the Kentucky Derby, DQ'd, placed 17th. It's been brilliant just about every single time he stepped onto the racetrack. And the last time, again, that he went one turn, the only time he's gone 7 furlongs, he was an 18.25 length winner.
Yeah, he crushed. And that was right before the Florida Derby.
This is a tougher field.
Yeah, and this is him winning the Haskell, beating Mucho Gusto last time we saw him. And he was game in this day. And since then, he's had obviously some issues. The works are amazing to me for this horse. I mean, they're so slow, they're unbelievable. That just shows me that they're just basically giving him some air into him. And there's a live shot of him right now.
His trainer just walked through the picture. There's Maximum Security. 5 for 7 in his career, including that DQ in the Derby. His return in the Bold Ruler is next.
Flatter. This prolific son of A.P. Indy has sired 6 millionaires, including Eclipse champion West Coast. This year, he's adding even more stakes winners to his outstanding record, including Sovereign Award winner Avies Flatter. In the auction ring, his yearlings have topped the Fasig-Tipton July sale 2 years in a row. Success on the track, success in the ring. Flatter, standing at Claiborne Farm.
It's America's original sport, and no one covers it better than americasbestracing.net. From the sport to the lifestyle, the best races, horses, and destination venues, cocktails, gambling, fashion, and more. americasbestracing.net is a sport for you. Live it, love it, bet it.
This year's Triple Crown took racing fans on a truly wild ride, leaving the question of 3-year-old division supremacy wide open.
Maximum Security, Country House 1-2 down to the line. Maximum Security wins the Kentucky Derby.
Or so we thought. After an agonizing 20-plus minutes, stewards would rewrite Triple Crown history.
They disqualified him. They did. So for the first time in the history of the Kentucky Derby, the horse that crossed the line first has been disqualified.
In the Haskell, following a narrow defeat in his first race back since the Derby DQ, all eyes were on Maximum Security. He proved he's far from done.
Maximum Security, just in front, Mucho Gusto, Valiant, but Maximum Security has won.
With that win, Maximum Security remains in the conversation for top 3-year-old honors. He will look to add another win to the resume in the Bold Ruler Stakes, a stepping stone to the Cigar Mile, today at Belmont Park.
So he makes his return here. This is Maximum Security. Crossed the wire first in that Derby, only to be DQ'd. So much controversy about that decision. He would come back to win the Haskell Invitational, a second Grade 1 win of the year. And there's the resume to this point for a horse who, if he could win here and come back and win the Grade 1 Cigar Mile, right there still in that conversation for 3-year-old champion.
Yeah, I mean, obviously it depends. If Code of Honor wins the Breeders' Cup Classic,
Depends what happens with the
conversation
others,
is
sure.
over. But I agree. It'll be hard to unseat Code of Honor, but I can't disagree, Greg. He's certainly in the conversation.
Yeah.
Well, speaking of Code of Honor, who, with what he did in the Jockey Club Gold Cup, moved up to a win via disqualification. It was a DQ again that might make a difference in terms of this horse winning your 3-year-old championship. Beat older horses there. He's going to move on to the Breeders' Cup Classic, but got it done against Vino Rosso with a little help from the stewards.
Yeah, though in this case, I mean, in the Derby, moving up to second, obviously it was the right call, but it was a different situation. I would almost say for certain he was going to win the Jockey Club Gold Cup if that horse hadn't fouled him. So I don't think that was just, and I don't think you're suggesting that, but it's not a...
No, I was not. Yeah. Then, of course, there's Omaha Beach. He would have been your favorite in the Kentucky Derby. Wound up not getting to go in that race. He was off until he came back in a Grade 1 sprint against the lightning-quick Chancelot. Richard Mandela turned him into a sprinter, and now we're going to see him go in the Breeders' Cup Dirt Mile.
I would think he's going to be your favorite, too. And he's probably going to be tough to handle. If Mandela's going to run him back, I wouldn't think that he would run him back that quickly after that huge effort against Chancelot. But yeah, here are your 2019 top 3-year-olds in a pretty good group.
Yeah, War of Will, though. I mean, his Pennsylvania Derby was dreadful. He's really got to get his game back. He's lost his good form.
He was the Preakness winner, of course. He will be moving on to the Breeders' Cup Classic, but it appears to be between Omaha Beach, Code of Honor, and this horse right here for 3-year-old champion. And yes, a lot depends on what happens championship weekend, of course. Coming back here in this spot off the bench, taking on older horses in this spot, is that going to give him a little bump here? I mean, this is a good field he's going up against.
Well, so much
to put him back in the picture.
Yeah, but so much dependent on Code of Honor. I mean, if Code of Honor runs third in the Breeders' Cup Classic, I think it opens the door for he and Omaha Beach if they do some good things going forward. A loss here would be bad for Max Security, but I still think if he could win the Cigar or the Clark, it gives him a chance, depending on what happens.
This is the stepping stone, yes, to a Grade 1 ahead. Let's head downstairs, get a paddock report for the Grade 3 Bold Ruler, check in with Maggie Wolfendale.
And Greg, obviously, we'll begin talking about the Haskell winner. That is number 1, Maximum Security. From that inside post, off a bit of a freshing, off the back of that bout with colic, which was right around the Pennsylvania Derby time. This is the first time I am up close and personal with Maximum Security. I've not been present for any of his other efforts, and I like what I see. You couldn't ask a horse to be any stronger in his hind end than what this horse is. I mean, he is so well-rounded and so strong-looking. I would be scared to stand 5 feet behind him if he would ever kick out or something. He just is very, very powerful-looking. So with that being said, the turn back to the 7, I think makes sense, and he is very sharp here as well. Obviously, a horse that can kind of handle any distance from 7 out to a mile and a quarter. So I like what I'm seeing. I can't fault him, but as I always preface, I have never seen him close up other than on the TV screen prior to this effort. So we'll see what he can do. Very excited to have him here at beautiful Belmont Park. Now, second off of a layoff is number 4, True Timber. Well, I do think Prince Lucky, besides the winner, ran the best race of any of them. True Timber ran well, considering it was his first start off of that Dubai race, and he is that kind of stocky, more robust type of horse where sometimes they need a start. And I got that feeling with him last time, and today he heads into here. He looks fit. He's just a good feeling horse too, which I appreciate. You know, he's with his pony once again. They have the earmuffs and then they take them out once he gets saddled. So I think True Timber should have a big impact here, and I've always loved him at the 7 furlong distance. And then one that is turning back to the 7/8 that hasn't run this kind of ground in quite a while is number 7, Diamond King. And I'm sure Andy will elaborate on this guy, but physically, this turn back is backed up with what I see from him. He isn't the biggest runner. I mean, you kind of look at him next to Prince Lucky, and Prince Lucky, while he could be effective at this distance, they're just totally different physical makeups, where he's this tall, lanky horse. Diamond King is more stout and compact, built downhill, really, really well muscled and fit, third off the bench. I think this distance might be what he's been asking for, as he did just come up short to Coal Front. Looked like he was going to go by him and then kind of backed off. Granted, Coal Front, a pretty talented runner for Todd Pletcher, Greg here, but Maximum Security, all eyes on him.
Yes, they are 3-5 on Maximum Security, taking on older horses for the first time in his career, and doing so off a layoff dating back to that victory in the Haskell Invitational back on July 20th. Let's look at the horse Maggie was talking about earlier, Diamond King in here, and a horse who just missed against Coal Front, who is going to be headed to the Breeders' Cup Dirt Mile, ran in the Met Mile for Todd Pletcher.
This is my best bet of the day, and I'm so happy that finally, over a year and a half later, his connects to running what I believe is the best race for him. He's only had one turn race since the Swale early in his 3-year-old year, and that was an easy win at Gulfstream, a mile in his 4-year-old debut. They've made plenty of money with him, to be fair. They made almost $500,000 running in mile and 1/8 races and 2-turn races. But this horse really started out his career very promising as a sprinter, and I think it's exactly what he wants to go 7 furlongs. I'd love to see Jose Ortiz be aggressive with him and try to put him on the front end, because I think he has the speed to do that with an aggressive ride. But regardless, I hope that the track doesn't work against him, because the rail has been strong the last couple days. But I think if his trip isn't bad, that he can win this race. I'm very, very excited to see him in this race.
He ran 2 days after Maximum Security at Monmouth, after Maximum Security won the Haskell. Wound up 3rd in a Grade 3, and this will be the 3rd off a short layoff as we take a look at Killebeg's captain. He's coming in off a win in the 6 furlong to Francis Memorial Dash, a Grade 3.
Well, he got class relief, right? He was right behind Matoli and Firenze Fire in the forego, and you thought, okay, maybe he'll bounce a tiny bit out of that race, but he was able to come from way off the pace to stay off a blistering pace. What I do like about him, when they do stretch him out to 7 furlongs, he seems like he can hang with some really good horses. I know Promises Fulfilled didn't put in his best effort last time, but he's been behind Firenze Fire, Recruiting Ready, Matoli, some other horses. And I don't think the mile is going to be an issue for him with this gray. Does like Belmont, does have 2 wins. He's just very consistent, and I think he's the horse that people are forgetting about, that he can be in the mix maybe at the end of this race.
Another look at Maximum Security. Luis Saez. Had to be so difficult for him to find out, go from the elation of a Derby win to finding out your horse has been DQ'd. It took 20+ minutes for those stewards to decide. So now, first race since July 20th, and you got to think, coming in here, he's going to be fresh. And, you know, Jason Servi, we mentioned the colic that he had, that situation, and it kind of sorted itself out on its own. Jason Service, under no circumstances, would be running him in this race if he was not 100% ready.
No. And when you, like I said, when you look at the work pattern, this is Jason's usual work pattern. They're like spotty, but this is the Derby winner, right? Worked 4 furlongs in 54-4 and 52-4. Obviously, those were just gallops that were timed. So I would think that's what also Jason's been doing with him. He knows what he's doing, Maximum Security. He's just putting power gallops into him just to put air in his lungs.
But I guess, Andy, the big question here is, with Maximum Security, all that time off to go against some stout older horses in here, and you're not doing it off really being ready in preparation. You're doing it off a layoff.
Right, and listen, they're all serious things to overcome. He helped by drawing the rail, because the rail's been good. If you do an outside post, I wouldn't think he had a prayer in this race. The rail could help his chances, but I just think I'm a gambler, and we're all bettors, every one of us, and we live to bet against horses like this at 3 to 5. Not that he can't win.
Post Parade brought to you by OCD Pellets, celebrating over 10 years of supporting the equine industry with their 2-in-1 bone and joint supplement. Go to OCDpellets.com for more info, and here he is, Maximum Security, first start back since his Grade 1 Haskell win.
He needs no introduction. He's finished first in 6 of his 7 races. He's been terrific. He's one of the leading 3-year-olds in the country, most talked about horses, but he faces a stern test.
Tale of Silence, one of the many older horses he'll take on. This one trained by Barclay Tagg.
Yeah, it's a horse that does love Belmont. 3 wins, all 3 at Belmont, and needs to get back to that Westchester effort to have a chance.
True Timber for Kieran McLaughlin, Calumet Farm. He was second in this race last year, put up a 104 buyer.
You know, and he wasn't a bad third in the Kelso behind Prince Lucky, who was second, and might have needed that race since he had been off since Dubai.
Here's Killebeg's captain for John Terranova. He's a multiple stakes winner coming off a Grade 3 win.
Yeah, this is my pick in here. I think this horse has got a big shot to stay close to the pace and really enjoy this distance.
Diamond King, he participated in last year's Triple Crown against Justify. He comes in off a second at Parks in a stakes race.
Finally getting to do what he wants to do, which is go 7 furlongs around 1 turn. Last time he tried to do it in the Swale, he had an absolutely horrendous trip.
And Prince Lucky, multiple graded stakes winner for Todd Pletcher, has John Velasquez aboard.
Yeah, the son of Corinthians, 7-time winner in 14 starts, so he loves to win races. You're getting a good price if you like him right now at 7-2.
So Maximum Security, 3 to 5 on the board. We figured he would get over bet just because of who he is, what happened in the Kentucky Derby, and how brilliant he's been on the racetrack. Let's face it, he has been brilliant. He's also the high weight in this field, tackling older horses and doing it off a layoff for Jason Service. For more, let's head downstairs to Maggie Wolfendale.
And please be joined by Jason Service here trackside. Greg, as we take a look and we just watched Maximum Security jog off with the pony in front of us, Jason, I mean, coming off that bout with a bit of colic, how has he been doing?
He's been doing okay. Kind of looking forward to getting a race under his belt. But he's doing okay.
The thought process behind the 7 furlongs, obviously we haven't seen him run this distance since early February. Is it more just kind of getting the fitness into him, or do you think that he will, before he plays, will be effective at the 7/8?
I mean, if the bold ruler would have been a mile, I probably still ran in it.
Right.
And if it was 6 furlongs, I probably would have still ran in it. It kind of fit nice. I was kind of like the cutback. You know, and coming out of the clinic and things, I was just really looking to get him going. As far as where he'll be, I mean, everybody thinks he has to be on the lead, but he really doesn't. So it's, you know, we left a lot up to Louis. You know, we've been watching the races, see how the track's playing, and told him a few of those things and left the rest to him.
Yeah, I mean, we've seen he won the Haskell from off the pace a bit as well. Now, Jason, a lot of people talk about the way you work your horses. I've been out and I watch, and you just kind of build up to work. So there isn't any fast work. There isn't any kind of thing like that. And that's just is that a stamina building thing?
You know, it's something I learned when I was galloping my own horses. And I was actually out in a training center where there was no clockers.
That Shenandoah?
No, that was actually Santuli's place before they bought it. Okay. And so I just got where I started throwing my watch on when I got into this routine, and it's been really good for me, especially the old claiming horses that are a little worn, you know. It kind of sweetens them up, takes them off the rail a little bit. And, you know, he ran a mile and a quarter and all. Yeah, I'm just trying to maintain him, stay out of his way a little bit.
Now, Jason, I've never seen him before pre-race, up close and personal. He seemed pretty sharp. Is that unusual or usual, or is that something you kind of put in with this turn back and distance?
we were a little concerned because he was quiet in the barn. He lays down a lot, but his tempo's good. But when he started coming over, you know, he started rearing up and acting good. So I was feeling a little better. I don't think you'll see his A race today, but I need to get him going. And Mr. West and I talked, and we thought, you know, this would be a good spot.
Well, Jason,
it's really not. It's a tough spot, but.
Any grade at stake, you're going to be in a tough spot. But Jason, thanks for sharing him with us, and best of luck.
Thank you. Appreciate it, Maggie.
All right, really cool insights there from Jason Service, guys, as Maximum Security looks to get back on track.
I mean, it's so interesting. I mean, you hear Jason Service saying that was big. You don't think you're going to see his A race. This looks like a stepping stone to the next start. But the way he does work his horses, guys, I mean, you look at almost every work that Maximum Security has on the page, it's either next to last or dead last.
Well,
if anyone who works in the morning,
yeah,
he works them slow.
Well, that's one of the reasons a horse that finished first in the Kentucky Derby could run a maiden $16,000 claimer in his first start and not even be favored, because the clockers have no way of judging his horses because of the way he works them. So there's no way that there's any tip on their horses or word on them, because you just don't know if they could run at all.
And we've talked about it a lot. Another Grade 1 winner came out of that 16 maiden claimer, of course, Math Wizard. Neither of those two were favored in that race. A horse named Guerreron was favored in that race.
All right.
It's amazing.
Probably still a maiden.
It's crazy, Jason, talking about, listen, he's run 1.25 miles. He knows what to do. I'm just trying to stay out of his way. Doug O'Neill learned that from the late, great Doug Peterson, who got Seattle Slew at the end of his career. You really don't need to sharpen him up in the morning. Bob Baffert's one of those few guys where he works blazing in the morning. Some guys have different tactics, and this is a tactic that Doug O'Neill uses as well. Just long 2-minute licks into horses, and it doesn't matter how slow they go as long as they get fit. And he made a great point with claimers and horses like this horse is a maiden claimer, or horses that are maybe a little bit sore, or horses that have run a lot. It sweetens them up a little bit, is what he said. It freshens them up a little bit and gives them a little confidence.
And Andy, with his post position here, drawn inside, if he gets a lot of heat early, if he does, I mean, he has limited options, right? You don't want to get buried down on the inside, do you?
Well, the rail was as strong yesterday as I've seen it since Belmonte, and there are signs today it's very much the place to be. I don't know if it's as strong as yesterday. It's hard to tell. We saw a long shot win closing, but it made him move up the rail. We have seen some outside runners do a little bit better, but I wouldn't want to give up that rail position. He's not as fast as some others in here, but we'll see how aggressive riders are. I mean, Joe Bravo's on the 4, True Timber. He's fast, but Joe's not that aggressive. Is Jose Ortiz going to be aggressive with Diamond King? I would be. If I was a trainer of Diamond King, I'd tell him, you go to the front. I don't care how fast you go, you go. And you get to the rail and you take your chance from there, but they don't really ride like that much here, so we'll see. I think the rail is a big advantage for Maximum Security, assuming he doesn't get left, but getting left is always a problem.
True Timber, there he is, Joe Bravo. He has 2 races on his resume where he's earned better figures than Maximum Security has ever run.
That's true.
Right. And he's 3-1. Max Security's 3-5. That's just such an odd.
But Maximum Security in a 3-year-old who this is kind of the start for him to see if he's grown up, if he's matured, if he moves forward. Kind of second half of his 3-year-old campaign.
Fair enough. But it's still a prep race for either the Cigar or the Clark. This is a betting opportunity, in my opinion. Win, lose, or draw. You're supposed to be betting against Maximum Security. If he wins, you lose. That's okay. We bet losers all the time, but this is an opportunity because he is way overbet.
None of our analysts here have gone with him. He's 4-5. The public is siding with him for the race he's coming out of. Look, second Grade 1 win in the Haskell. He beat Mucho Gusto. And you're saying, well, who was behind him that day besides that horse? Spun to Run came back to run the second highest buyer speed figure of any 3-year-old this year. He ran a 110 buyer in a stakes win at Parks.
He did, but let me say 2 things. Mucho Gusto was a bad 4th in the Oklahoma Derby as the favorite, and Spun to Run ran a lousy 5th in the Pennsylvania Derby, and then he came back and he ran that big figure. So I agree, Spun to Run, I know where it came from. Mysterious things happen at Parks. We'll see what he does in the Breeders' Cup Dirt Mile. I hear you, but Mucho Gusto came back and ran lousy out of that race.
Maximum Security. The inside post, the one horse here, DQ'd out of that win in the Kentucky Derby, 2-time Grade 1 winner. Using this as a stepping stone to either the Cigar Mile or the Clark. With a 3-year-old championship still in the mix for him, potentially. Depending on what happens with the other top 3-year-olds championship weekend. It is the Grade 3 Bold Ruler. Let's send it upstairs to the voice of New York Racing for the call. Here's Larry Colmus.
Lucky steps forward and in, and they're all in line. They're off in the Bold Ruler, and a great beginning for Maximum Security. Killybeg's captain was slow to start and is left at the back of the pack. Maximum Security directly to the early lead, and True Timber goes after him with Diamond King, Prince Lucky outside of them. At the rail is Tale of Silence, 2 lengths from the front. Killybeg's captain is 4.5 lengths off. Front-running Maximum Security, who heads up the backstretch with company from True Timber through an opening quarter mile in 22.9 seconds. Outside of them, Diamond King is perched out there 3 wide. Prince Lucky 4 deep in 4th as they head toward the half-mile pole. Tale of Silence is next. Killybeg's captain is 4 lengths off the lead. Around the far turn, Maximum Security, the leader by just a neck. True Timber, Diamond King, and Prince Lucky clinging to him on the far turn. Then Killybeg's captain and Tale of Silence. A 45.22 half for Maximum Security, who's tested all the way so far. The leader at the top of the stretch by just a neck. Diamond King runs with him in second. Prince Lucky goes up on the outside. True Timber can't stick with them. They're coming to the final furlong. Maximum Security under a drive from Luis Saez, holding on to this lead. He's in front by 2.5 lengths close to home. And then it's Diamond King, Prince Lucky, up the rail, Tale of Silence and True Timber, but it's Maximum Security. To score in the Bold Ruler by 2, Tale of Silence was second, True Timber was third, and Prince Lucky was fourth, and a very sharp final time of 1:20.76.
Sharp final time indeed. Maximum Security, first test against older horses, and he passes with flying colors.
Yeah, he did this very well. I mean, they did go after him early. They quickened it up a tiny bit, but he was really sharp when Louis asked him in the final 1/8 of a mile here. And the rail, Andy's right, the rail is very, very strong.
Look at Tale of Silence.
Tale of Silence is right up the rail. That's a brilliant ride by Junior Alvarado. Just stick on the rail, suck up second here at 23-1. But he turned away all these older horses. Killybeg's captain got left in the gate. His race was over. But he finishes his race nice here, Andy.
No, he ran very well. Obviously, he had everything in his own favor. It's a very slow first quarter, and until the stretch where he drifted a little bit, he was on very much the best part of the racetrack, but he also won convincingly. The others were against the track and maybe didn't get the cleverest of rides, but this horse got it done. You got to give him a lot of credit. He passed a big test here, and it was a fast time.
If he's okay, what if he's really good? He just said he was okay to Maggie.
Yeah, he thought he was not going to have his A+ race. That man right there, Jason Service.
Out not to be exactly true. I'm shocked.
Well, I would think second off the bench we could potentially see better. Let's head downstairs to Maggie Wolfendale.
Away.
You run fast.
Here with Jason Service.
I'm borderline emotional because what the horse went through, I tell you, it's really gratifying.
Excellent job by you, Jason, to bring this horse back.
He's not 100%. He ran against bias, I thought, in the rail, and it's just special horse. Special horse.
He loves his job. Ears up at the end, finishing up 120 and change. Wow.
Yeah, so he's a special horse.
Well, you can tell how much this horse means to you, and just the ride that you guys have been on with him, for him to come back and beat older horses facing him for the first time, it's got to be up the roller coaster again.
I'm like you see how I am. I mean, it's a really special horse.
Jason, go get your picture taken. Give him a big hug and a big pat.
Thank you, Gary Mary, for listening.
That's right. A true horseman, that's for sure, in Jason's Service. And kudos to the West as well, guys, for listening and having faith in their horse and their trainer.
Yeah, Gary and Mary, of course, Gary and Mary West. And still in litigation, waiting to hear what's going on with that Kentucky Derby. But this horse, to put up this kind of performance, whoa, nearly lost him there, and great job from Luis Saez to hop off, get a hold of him. But what a performance against older competition.
He's so aware of everything. You can understand, and there's Jason now, emotional, now a little bit worried that everything's okay, but he's a very intelligent horse, aware of his surroundings, and that's what happened to him in the Kentucky Derby. It was not Louis' fault. He shied away from something in the infield, and he shied away from something just right now. But that also makes him a brilliant horse. He's so aware of everything, and he's aware of his commands. But you can see Jason very, very emotional because he said it. I didn't think he could do this, and you could say right before the interview, man, he went really, really fast, and an ovation here from the Belmont crowd. Pretty cool stuff.
And that's great to see Jason Service get so emotional over that. I mean, what he went through, that's tough to have that win you thought you got in a Kentucky Derby, which for anyone in this game would mean everything. It's the most coveted victory you can have, and then have it taken away, going through an agonizing 20-plus minutes. But to come back and to prove to everyone this horse is as good as he thinks, and to show the world he beats older horses, does it convincingly in this spot.
Yeah, because even though
he's going to be fun to watch.
Even though it was a legitimate DQ, he was best.
Yeah.
So it's not like the Jockey Club Gold Cup where it was legitimate DQ and Code of Honor would have won.
Yeah.
In all likelihood, he was the best horse in the Derby. It was the right call, but and I'll discuss bias with Jason Service at another time because he wasn't against the bias.
Yeah, Jason Service said, that there was a rail bias. You would disagree.
The rail's been gold as can be, but that's...
Look, this horse, too, the next start is going to be a Grade 1. Likely the Cigar Mile, which would be at Aqueduct here in New York, or the Clark. But the plans are for the West. They want to bring this horse back as a 4-year-old as well.
This is great stuff. And, and again, you saw the emotion from Jason, and then basically saying this horse was not ready. He was not supposed to win this. I really feel the more you look at him and look at Jason, he really didn't expect this kind of effort from him today. He was just like, let's get him back to the races. Let's see what we got. And the horse is just brilliant, like you said. He's the real deal. And I love to see him in the Cigar Mile. I think it would be a great point. You go up another furlong. And then you got all those other races when it comes to, there's a big race, obviously, at Gulfstream Park. There's also a big race over in Dubai. There's a lot of different ways they can go with him when they start his 4-year-old campaign.
Well, what do you think, Andy, moving forward? I mean, you would have to think off this performance, he's going to get better, wouldn't you think, second off the bench, third off the bench?
Well, I'm a parade rainer. That's what I do. Obviously, you would expect him to run better in his next start. But he can't get a better setup. He got a slow first quarter on a track, favorable running style. So he's the kind of horse I'm going to continue to bet against, but he did run terrific. I'm not looking to knock him, but we'll see.
Let's head downstairs to Maggie.
Here with winning rider Louis Saez. And Louis, he was so sharp out of the gate for you. You just didn't want to take anything away from him.
No, the plan was try to break it. If we took it, we took it. And he did perfect. He braked so perfect. We thought we were going to go a little slow, but geez, the pace was pretty strong. They put me pressure all the way, and he's a running machine. He just kept running, and when he came to the stretch, he switched the lead, he take off again. It was pretty easy.
I was going to say, he kept getting faster throughout the race.
Getting faster and faster. Here in the end, I just stay with him because I don't want to, let him kill him for no reason. He was doing it so easy.
Ears up at the end, still had enough energy to spook from something from the inside there.
Yeah, he feels so good, he was ready for run today.
Well, Louis, congratulations. Job well done to you.
Thank you so much, Maggie.
All right, guys, and also caught up with Jason Service about plans for the next race, and he said he's going to leave it up to the West, but he would rather stay here in New York, be able to train him up to the Cigar Mile here at Belmont. He has a barn here, so wouldn't have to ship as much as opposed to going to Kentucky.
Well, maximum security, he beats older horses. He does his part. Code of Honor, Omaha Beach, your move, championship weekend.
Could I just say, I think if it's up to the West, I think we'll be seeing him in the Cigar Mile.
Yeah,
I don't think they're going back to Churchill Downs.
Yeah,
I tend to agree.
Yeah, I tend to agree. In the Cigar Mile, listen, it's a stamp race. It's a sire type race too. It'll help him out when it comes to his stud career too.
And he's a funny horse. I mean, he's coming back. We're thrilled he's coming back. Listen, he's a terrific horse. He's accomplished a great deal. He doesn't have the pedigree that's going to attract a lot of breeders to spend a lot of money. And it's not a dissimilar situation to a California Chrome, who arguably is one of the best horses we've seen in the last decade. And think of how long he ran. And one of the reasons was, thankfully, he wasn't an attractive stud. So it's great to keep him on the racetrack, right?
Sure.
He's been fun to watch, and he's going to be fun to watch going forward. We're going to see him likely one more time this year. Be fun to have him live on our program, on our Cigar Mile coverage. And then we're hoping to see him again as a 4-year-old. For now, that is the plan. 3-year-old championship still alive for maximum security. We'll be back.
Go from Railbird to Winner's Circle. With My Racehorse, you have access to top horses and trainers, backside tours, exclusive ownership experiences, and fast payouts to your online account. With shares starting as little as $100, the Winner's Circle is waiting for you. Go to myracehorse.com or download the My Racehorse app today to join the thousands who have already started their journey as a racehorse owner.
Coming on strong.
Minute to stardom. On top, coming down to the final 16th, opening up a 2-length lead.
My love for you.
Wild About Star, shining big here in Berry 1.
Oh, why did I wrong?
Testing, 1, 2. The Star Guitar Filly leads Champagne Diva close to home. It's testing, 1, 2.
Feel my love for you. Coming on strong.
It's America's original sport, and no one covers it better than americasbestracing.net. From the sport to the lifestyle, the best races, horses, and destination venues, cocktails, gambling, fashion, and more. americasbestracing.net is a sport for you. Live it, love it, bet it.
Run Happy was a really nice racehorse. The biggest attribute that I see about him is the way he stamps his foals. You know, they got big, pretty walks on them. They got good hips and shoulders. Very pretty to look at. And, you know, the real strong hind leg. You know, everything that you're looking for as a racehorse. You know, that's what impresses me.
Run Happy, standing at Claiborne Farm.
Back on America's Day at the Races here on MSG Plus, our show brought to you in part by Claiborne Farm. 100 years of doing the usual, unusually well. We just saw Maximum Security beat older horses in the Grade 3 Bold Ruler. There will not be a Breeders' Cup for Maximum Security, but there will be one more start this year, and it could come right here in New York. But as for championship weekend, Breeders' Cup Filly and Mare Sprints, Come Dancing Covfefe on a collision course.
Yes.
Okay. I got a horse. If the Connection's Secret Spice take a shot, don't run the distaff and run here, she could be the upset.
You want me to call Billy Koch a little Red Feather?
Please do.
Okay, well.
As a favor to him.
This is Covfefe at Saratoga. She had to earn it. I mean, listen, she is very, very fast. Yeah. And she is the one to beat, but Serengeti Empress gave her all she could handle that day. This was one of the better races that we saw at the spa this year.
And when she came out of this race to run even better in the Dogwood at 7/8, 120-2, and just an incredible performance that I think signaled her as she is the one to beat now in the Filly and Mare Sprint.
I agree, because she's done that brilliantly at 2 tracks, right? At Churchill and Pimlico. So you can't say, oh, she freaked at Pimlico, or oh, she freaked at Churchill. She's done it. But let's not count, and you're not doing that, but let's not count Come Dancing down. But the thing about Come Dancing is she has that brilliant effort in her first start this year, the distaff, which I still think is maybe as good a performance we've seen from any horse all year. She has not run as fast in her other races, but she's good.
I think she needs, Andy, correct me if I'm wrong, she's been a little bit quirky out of the gate. She needs an outside draw, because if she gets an inside draw, that could be detriment to her. Outside draw, maybe she can break a little bit better, and if she has a little bit of a misstep, she can make it up outside. If she gets up behind horses, behind Covfefe too much, she might not be able to run her down.
Well, a couple of things. First of all, she doesn't break. She hasn't been breaking well. So you definitely, I agree with you. You want to be outside because of that. I think the draw is important in a lot of these sprint races, and I think it is for Covfefe too. Yeah. Does Covfefe want to be the hunted inside? Because when she didn't run that well behind Mia Mischief in a race, I think we showed the Roxalena maybe from Churchill, a race right before Saratoga, she was dueling down inside. And a little like Matoli, who, dead rail or not, doesn't want to be the hunted. So I think the draw is important for both of these horses.
Post positions matter. Come Dancing, meanwhile, she was back at work this morning at Belmont. For more on that, let's go to Maggie.
Yeah, it looked like she was just galloping, Greg, as she did work under Javier Castellano again under the lights on the training track early this morning. We saw her work in 37-2 for the 3H, just reminder, as we like to say, just getting that maintenance work into her before she ships out to California for trainer Carlos Martin. And I mean, you can see how much of restraint that Javier has her under. And then if you watch the gallop out too, he could barely pull her up and her ears are forward. And we see, you know, Javier, when I talked to him about this mare the other day, said that she needs a target. She needs something in front of her because she's so effortless and so talented and so fast that she kind of just goes along and she gets easily distracted. As if you want a little distraction, Mark Halliday and Blue Devil Racing, as far as their Instagram, and they have a Facebook account as well, but their Instagram is super impressive. I mean, all the videos, the workouts, the news reports that they have listed there, and plus the great pictures of the very lovable Come Dancing. So if you want to check that out, if you are a fan of Come Dancing, if you're not, it's really, really well done to Blue Devil Racing and Mark Halliday. As Come Dancing, guys, she is the older in this division. As far as her and Kofefi squaring off, it's going to be quite a showdown. So looking forward to this Breeders' Cup Filly and Mare Sprint. Greg?
Well, it's another chance for Kofefi. The only time she faced Elders, she got beat by Mia Mischief, who's a Grade 1 winner. She'll get another chance. Championship weekend. And we cannot wait in that Breeders' Cup Filly and Mare Sprint. Coming up next, 2-year-olds in the $100,000 Awad Stakes next at Belmont. Stay with us.
I'm a firm believer you don't put the saddle on the pedigree. I bought him strictly because of his physique, his conformation. And then when you looked at the pedigree, it was the perfect blend. Run Happy was an incredible, incredible racehorse, being supported by Airdrie Stud, who raises an incredible animal. To breed one of their best mares to him speaks volumes. It ended up producing an incredible result in this horse, and we just hope he runs to his looks and his pedigree.
Run Happy, standing at Claiborne Farm.
Racetrack Television Network brings you every race, from every track, on every screen, every day. With monthly packages starting as low as $5, RTN gives you great value and access to more live HD streaming and race replays than anyone. Visit RTN.tv today to sign up and watch on almost any device, including Roku and Amazon Fire. Use promo code TRYRTN for a 5-day free trial.
Awad in the midst of his rally now, 5 lengths from the top as the field turns for home. Influent is still holding on to the lead. Influent coming to the final furlong. Fahim is charging on through. Here comes the old pro Awad on the outside. Vales Prince in tight quarters. Shoot back right there. Nothing left for Influent. Here comes Awad, and Awad takes the lead under a masterful ride by Pat Day to win the Sword Dancer by 2.
Saratoga course record in that performance in the Sword Dancer in 1997 for Awad.
Yeah, Awad is, you know, he's just one of these horses. This is what racing is all about, right? The horses like Awad that just had remarkable careers.
15.3 hands. He was a little guy.
And he won $3.2 million the hard way, back when nobody was winning that kind of money. I do want to mention the horse in that race, Influent, who was the speed. I was owned by somebody I knew who actually, he won a Grade 1 for Howie Tesher. He's Howie Tesher's last Grade 1 winner, when he won, I believe, the Man of War for an owner, Dick Cumble, who had passed away 2 days before the race, actually, I was friendly with.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, cool horse, Influent.
Our favorite right now, Tiesto for Bill Mott, was a surprise in his debut. Got up to win at 11-1. He's favored right now as we send it downstairs for Paddock Report with Maggie.
Yeah, you're taking the worst of it as far as Tiesto's price, Greg, for this Awad, but I don't think you're taking the worst of it as far as talent is concerned, and a likely winner in Tiesto. He just looks sensational. If anything, he's come out of that race and moved forward. From what I can observe from him, he's very mature acting this time around, which I like to see. He's a very elegantly built horse. I mean, he looks older than 2, and I mean, from pole to tail, he's very long as well. He kind of dwarfs his handlers, and that's not something you can necessarily say about a lot of 2-year-olds. I think this guy is a little bit, to use a cliche, wiser beyond his years, or at least physically beyond his years. So I like Tiesto, but want to check in with a horse that I haven't seen in a bit, and that's number 2, Irish Mia's 4 Gram Motion. he did go to Laurel and break his maiden in the Laurel Futurity. They wanted to run him on the turf first time out, and obviously he has some talent either way. And I thought that he was more, honestly, of a dirt horse based upon that first effort. But then again, maybe he's not. But what I like is that he's just more together. Mentally, physically, he's just a better horse this time coming into this effort than what he was going back to his 2 Saratoga efforts. So I like that forward progression from him. As we'll take a look at number 5, Talking, who emerges out of the Grade 1 Summer Stakes behind Breeders' Cup bound Decorated Invader. And I mean, yeah, he didn't run as well as Decorated Invader, but he was stuck behind that slow pace as he was. He was also carried wide by the eventual winner, kind of bumped with him too. So it wasn't the most ideal of trips, and maybe he does get a little bit of clash relief here in the Awad, but he's a solid horse. I've never laid eyes on him before, but I like what I see. Pretty sharp in here. It looks as though he's doing well for Jonathan Thomas, Greg, as he looks for another winner on this card.
Yeah, thanks, Maggie. Jonathan Thomas won with a first-time starter. Same connections is Catholic Boy, owned by Robert LaPenta, earlier on our show. And there's a look at Jonathan Thomas. Talking to Javier Castellano. Get signed up, started, play along with Naira Bets. Up to $200 deposit match and a $25 risk-free Breeders' Cup wager. Use the promo code BC19 to get involved to earn the deposit match. New members have 30 days to bet twice the initial deposit amount. Get signed up before Breeders' Cup to take advantage. Again, that promo code BC19. Get started with Naira Bets. Perfect time to do it with championship weekend. Just less than a week away.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Breeders'
6 days.
Cup. And I tell you, we were just talking off camera about Aqueduct. I mean, obviously, weather is always the biggest factor. I mean, if the weather's lousy, like it was last year, you don't get turf racing stuff. But if the weather holds up at Aqueduct, we're going to see some terrific racing over there. A lot of good 2-year-olds still left to be run, both turf and dirt. And I know, Greg, you were half kidding, but you were serious. You're looking forward to playing Aqueduct, and so am I. And I know, Paul, you're a sicko, too. You'll be betting it, too.
No, I'm definitely looking forward to it. Looking forward to this one, though, too. We saw Noble Emotion go by for Jonathan Thomas. Here's Irish Mias, Graham Motion.
Yeah, broke his maiden in a nice little stakes race at Laurel, going long first time on the turf, so I wouldn't dismiss it 8-1.
Favorite, Tiesto, he was 11-01 first time out at Belmont, September 21st, and he won by 3+ lengths.
Yeah, when Belmont wins with a first-time starter on turf or dirt, you pay attention. This horse was good.
Pixelate, big price, 25-1, Mike Stidham, runner, Son of City Zip.
Yeah, this one for Godolphin Blue, and you get Lescano aboard. Mitchell Morrell won on him last time out at Arlington Park. He actually had a good beat at Keeneland, did Mitchell.
Here's the Jonathan Thomas runner taking more attention on the board. He also sends out Noble Emotion, the 1. This is Talking, son of Union Rags.
You know, he really didn't run well in the summer watching the race. He broke a step slow, but I thought he got a pretty good ride thereafter and just wasn't good enough. Is he getting some class relief? Perhaps, but this is not an easy field.
Bill Mott with another runner in the field as well, coming out of the Grade 3 Pilgrim. No line blinkers coming off with Junior Alvarado.
Yeah, this is a great colt by Flashback. You know, they tried to get him on the turf the first time, and he won on an off-the-turf event. Then they put him in a tougher spot. He might run better today.
Get smoking. He's 8-1. Tom Bush with Luis Saez aboard.
I know he ran against him against restricted bred, but he did run a fast race last time and 134 and change.
Winner came back with a very big effort.
Yeah.
Second horse came back with a very big effort to win next time.
Buy land and see. This horse won by 8+ lengths, is the favorite when adding blinkers at Parks on the turf last start.
Yeah, I actually picked this horse. I know Jose Ortiz, who rode him last time, is riding Tiesto, but I was impressed by his effort last time, and I like him for Steve Caceres. I think he can upset the favorite, though he's not a big price.
Don Juan Kitten, he went gate to wire with Manny Franco. Now he gets Kendrick Carmouche aboard for start number 2.
Well, he was the prettiest kitten on his debut, wasn't he? 16-1. They let him go 115 and change, and he walked around the racetrack. I don't know if he's going to get that today.
And me and Mr. C for Ned Allard, Joe Bravo aboard.
He looks slow, but you leave Ned Allard out at big price at your own peril. We saw him win with a rare New York shipper yesterday that paid $25, and I don't know that he's going to win, but I bet he outruns his odds.
Won first time out, second in a stake in his next start at Laurel.
Have you seen a Son of Kozan?
I saw 1 or 2.
Okay.
Kozan's a big family. He's Royal Delta,
yeah,
right?
Royal
He's
Delta,
after Royal
yes,
Delta.
yeah,
He ran
yeah.
a few times for Todd. Was brilliant.
Yeah.
Ran a big figure once, yeah.
5 minutes to post here in the Awad. Let's head downstairs, check in again with Maggie.
And here with trainer Jonathan Thomas sending out 2. And here we'll begin, though, Jonathan, talking about who is coming out of the Grade 1 Summer Stakes. What did you think about his trip up there behind Decorated Invader?
Well, one, I thought Decorated Invader looked like probably the best 2-year-old boy on the grass we've seen so far, you know, and he won handily. You know, it was a bit soft up there. I thought we struggled a little bit with the ground, but also I might have let this Grade 1 intimidate us a little bit. We kind of got conservative and took him back, which I shouldn't have done. He's kind of a, you know, a stalking type of horse, and I should have let him run a little more free. So that was over-instructing my rider. That was my fault.
Best to say, just good luck?
Yeah, pretty much, especially if they're in the Hall of Fame. Just give them a leg up and get out of their way. So.
Exactly, as Javier Castellano obviously climbing back aboard too. But long shot on the rail, Noble Emotion broke his maiden last time going the 6th, which you would cut him back, and he showed speed. I don't think anybody was really expecting that, were you?
We kind of, you know, trained him quietly for a week and sharpened him up so he'd be quick off the blocks. But, you know, I think he's able to stretch it out a little bit. Pedigree-wise, certainly he's got a curling mare on the bottom and Noble Mission, so he should be able to get a couple extra furlongs.
Now, as far as telling Johnny V, did you tell him anything? Does he go to the lead with him?
I told him he's most likely going to be on the lead, but, you know, we don't need to, like, be crazy about it. We're not on a kamikaze mission, but we'll see what happens.
All right, well, looking for another win on the card. You had a nice maiden score with an older filly boxing score, not filly, colt.
He's gelding, so he's half there.
I was going to say, yeah. But you had brought him up to Saratoga, and you actually worked him with Catholic Boy. So was this a horse that you had high hopes for?
Yeah, I mean, he's a beautiful mover. He's never been really quick on the dirt, but he's bred up and down for the turf, and, you know, we were hoping. I was surprised. I thought he ran really well. And he came home nicely, and, you know, maybe he's a horse for the future, but I love what I saw today.
Yeah, I think a lot of us did. Well, wishing you the best of luck here in this award as well.
Thank you.
All right, Jonathan Thomas, guys. He's sending out that kind of 1-2 punch a little bit here with the speed horse and one that's going to close.
Noble Emotion from the rail, and I'll have this one here talking 9-2 on the board.
You got to really respect Jonathan Thomas because he basically said, I did something wrong. And it's interesting, if you watch the race, you can see that Javier is strangling the horse down, and it's a lesson for all of us, and I think I've made that mistake too. You blame the jockey.
Yeah,
you say, why is he doing that? Well, he's doing it because a lot of the times jockeys are doing it because the trainers tell them to do it. If he thinks this horse is going to be in front of Get Smokin', he must know Luis Saez told him, I'm not going to send the fastest horse in the race to lead.
Yeah.
Get Smokin' is smoking fast.
Yeah, I think he was more in saying, let's get him involved a little bit earlier and get him in stalking spot. You're right, but
Get Smokin's quick.
This is a good little race. Now, Tiesto was absolutely dynamite last time out. The son of Tisnow, they paid $600,000 for him for a reason. I have a marker tree mare, and he showed off his pedigree. It was only a field of 8, but he just swooped around these horses, and you could see just a long stride that he just wants to keep on going. He got a little green there late, but you can see he's sort of kicking it in a little bit.
Yeah, I mean, it's hard to know these maiden races, you know, how good were the fields. But first of all, he wins by almost 4 lengths. You don't see horses in turf races win like that. And the second horse, a heavily favored Todd Pletcher horse, that he may have disappointed a bit, but I thought that field actually looked pretty good, and a number of them are entered, I think, in the first race tomorrow. He can't knock this horse.
I don't know if he's a better DJ or a better horse. One of the most popular DJs you'll...
Is that it?
One of the most
Tiesto?
Ooh.
Wow, you're really...
Look up Tiesto.
You're really a renaissance man, Paul.
Gotta be... Might be up there. One of the most popular DJs in Miami. Yeah.
Okay.
Your clubbing days in Miami are not over, Paul.
Yeah.
I wonder if he's named after that DJ. Let's check it again with Maggie before they load up.
I would say with Ellen J. Foxwoods that he is probably, I would think, named after that DJ. They're pretty hip on their, you know, current events / pop culture. Obviously, Covfefe. Need I say more? As I just want to talk about number 9 by Land and Sea. He might get the star as far as warm-ups were concerned here. Beneath Irad Ortiz, and weirdly Jose Ortiz went to ride him down at Parks in his tour de force around the Parks turf course. He was impressive. Probably wasn't beating much that day. It's always tough, you know, gauging these 2-year-old races, I would think. But wow, he looked the part in the paddock. He got a little riled up, but once he got out on track, he was all business. And this horse stacks right up with the rest of them. And I would say on the board as of now, the public thinks so as well, as he is 7-2, Greg.
All right, Maggie, thanks. Yeah, 7-2. By Land and Sea, intriguing in here. I mean, there's so many intriguing runners. You never know who's going to take that next big step forward as a 2-year-old.
Or a horse like the 3, broke his maiden impressively. Sometimes they don't run back to him.
Yeah.
It's not, I mean, that's I think one of the hardest things for trainers to do is get impressive debut winners to come back and run back to those races or improve on them. A lot of times just takes a lot out of them. I mean, obviously Bill Mott's one of the great trainers in the game, but it's still not easy, and you never know how they're going to react.
There is Bill Mott's Tiesto, the favorite, moving in line. Of course, Mott with the long shot as well. No Lime, the 6, who he's coming another shot here in stakes competition.
Anybody buying the 1 as your long shot here at 17-1? Noble Emotion? No? Not buying it. Gosh. Nothing from the peanut gallery.
No. Yeah.
That's awful.
I don't know. I mean, would anyone shock you in this spot?
No.
That 11, there's the Ned Allard runner. Done very little wrong in his first 2
you're
starts,
right,
now coming to New York.
You're right. There's no horse in this race on paper that you say, well, this is like a hopeless 50-1 shot.
Let's send it upstairs for the call of the award. Here's the voice of New York Racing, Larry Colmus.
Me and Mr. C still to come forward, and one of the starting gates was opened up here, and they're closing it in the front. So just waiting for me and Mr. C to take position in the outside stall, and we will be set for the start. Me and Mr. C and Joe Bravo stepping up. And they're all in line. They're off in the award. A fast break by Noble Emotion on the inside, and Get Smokin's got speed too. And right up there too is By Land and Sea. And then it's Talking Away running in 4th position. In behind them, then Tiesto along the rail. No Lime, Don Juan Kitten. Break of 3.5 to me and Mr. C, who's climbing a bit up the backstretch on the outside of Irish Mia's. The trailer is Pixelate. Up the backstretch they go. This opening quarter mile was 23.06. They're moving right along here with Noble Emotion in front. 3/4 of a length to Get Smokin' in second. Talking is 2 lengths off of them in third. Tiesto is sent through an opening on the inside to get closer up, now 3.5 lengths off the lead. By Land and Sea is outside of No Lime, and then Don Juan Kitten and Irish Mia's along the rail. Me and Mr. C has 9 lengths to make up. Pixelate is the trailer as they complete this first half mile in 46.89 seconds. It's been Noble Emotion so far. A half-length lead on the far turn to Get Smokin' in second. On their outside is Talking in third. Tiesto's 2 lengths off the lead, now being nudged on to go from 4th. By Land and Sea is next. Then Don Juan Kitten on the far outside, putting it a bit. Irish Mia's, No Lime, and Pixelate, and they're into the stretch. Noble Emotion off the turn in front. Talking here on the outside is Don Juan Kitten. By Land and Sea is in it too. Don Juan Kitten and By Land and Sea are now 1-2. Pixelate is finishing on the outside. Then Talking along the rail, followed by Irish Mia's. By Land and Sea, battling on inside of Don Juan Kitten. Pixelate, a late move. They're coming to the line. By Land and Sea in the award. And then it was Pixelate, followed by Don Juan Kitten.
By Land and Sea, determined effort in here, son of Cairo Prince for Steve Glaceris.
Yeah, you know, Irad was biding his time kind of, and then when Don Juan Kitten made that big, what looked like a winning move, it sort of took him into the race, and he battled back gamely from that one, and then the long shot Pixelate for Mike Stidham.
Yeah.
He was one of the biggest price on the board, I have to think, right?
Yeah, I would think so. He was up there
35 to 1.
Yeah, 35 to 1. And you know what, Andy? I was going to say something right before, and I just bit my tongue. By Land and Sea, good job by Irad Ortiz Jr., but for some reason, the Arlington Park races have come up very, very strong. They've come up strong at Keeneland. They've come up strong here. This horse was 35 to 1, was really rolling. Yeah. I even said Pixelate in the middle of the racetrack and almost got there in the shadow of the wire, but Irad did a good job of getting this horse, and Blinkers has made a difference to this son of Cairo Prince.
You know, and I think once again, we talked about this, horse is not running. While the 3 broke a step slow and rushed up, I didn't notice if he got any kind of big traffic trouble. Tiesto did little running from behind. The 9 ran, but the 4 improved dramatically, and we talked about it. You know, these horses can and will change. I don't think the 3 had any major excuse here, do you?
No, none at all. I mean, even the front runners, I mean, the 1 had an easy lead. Jonathan's other horse, the 5, I thought it was in good stalking position. Don Juan Kitten coming out of the mile just sort of gave it up late. The best horse won, and listen, the 4 was rolling late, but then I thought the 9 was the best horse by far.
I agree, because you look at the horses that were retaining the pace, they all collapsed. The 4 made a big run, the 11 made a run, and he was the one who was closest. He was 3 wide the whole way. I would agree with you. I think the 9 won. He was the best.
By Land and Sea won by 8+ lengths at Parks to break his maiden. Comes into New York and steals the money in the Awad. We'll be back.
No sport in the world brings the wins home like racing. It's one-of-a-kind, high-speed, high-stakes action, and Naira Bets takes you there. Place your bets and watch the races live from anywhere. With Naira Bets, make easy, secure deposits and promotions every day to earn reward points or cash. Download the Naira Bets app or visit NairaBets.com. New members earn up to a $200 deposit match and $25 risk-free Breeders' Cup bet with promo code BC19.
Smiling Tiger's award-winning daughter is headed to the Breeders' Cup. California Horse of the Year, Spiced Perfection, secured her championship spot, taking the Grade 2 TCA Stakes.
Spiced Perfection, what a performance!
And El Tigre Terrible is Smiling Tiger's latest turf winner at Santa Anita. Book before Breeders' Cup weekend and receive a discounted breeding rate of $6,000 for the 2020 season. That's a $1,500 discount. Call 800-321-6211 and ask for the special Breeders' Cup booking fee. It pays to be Cal-bred.
It's been home to some of the sport's biggest moments, monumental achievements, and extraordinary records. At Santa Anita, we'll set another before the first gate even opens, as the Breeders' Cup returns for a record 10th time. This November, the stars will shine, champions will be crowned, and when the unbelievable happens, you'll want to be there to see it. The Breeders' Cup World Championships.
Run Happy, standing at Claiborne Farm.
You're watching America's Day at the Races on MSG Plus. Thanks for spending part of your Saturday afternoon with us. Our show brought to you in part by Run Happy, now standing at Claiborne Farm out of that legendary stall number 1, formerly occupied by some of the greats, Bold Ruler, Secretariat, Easy Goer, and now the home of Run Happy. And we're going to see his offspring hitting the racetrack 2020, win at Saratoga in an open maiden special weight with a Run Happy offspring. There's a $100,000 bonus on the line. Into the winner's circle in the Awad, By Land and Sea, a 2-year-old by Cairo Prince for Steve Glaceris, Irad Ortiz Jr. aboard.
Yeah, congratulations. And out of Maria Monsmer, a PA bred, and Irad Ortiz Jr. in the irons. If you had that Grand Slam, which usually does not pay that much, that has a great payout, $87. That pick 3, $134. So you're on for a decent pick 4. The pick 5s are paying great. And look at the 10-cent super with Pick Slate and Don Juan Kitten blowing it up. $1,200 for a dime. Oof.
By Land and Sea, impressive performance here. Now as stakes winners, we take a look at this jackpot carryover, trying to get to Sunday.
It will be.
If you can beat the 2, 6, and 7 though, you're getting over 20 grand for 20 cents.
There are a bunch of horses that I think there's only a couple of live tickets on.
Yeah, 74,000.
Yeah,
That's a good
maybe 3
payout.
live tickets.
Yeah,
Maybe 2 or 3. I don't know.
You get a bomb. You get any kind of, not like a bomb. You get like a
Bon.
a medium type horse. There's a couple that are live for 74,000. That's crazy.
Nightcap still to come. Let's head downstairs to Maggie Wolfendale.
Here with winning trainer and owner Steve Glaceris, Joe Mbisi, as By Land and Sea Steve. He was really impressive today because he was kind of hung out wide too.
He was wide. Irad was just trying to get him to relax, and he accomplished the mission.
I was going to say, was that the plan, to get this horse to relax? Because he was on a tour de force down at Parks.
Yeah, he dragged Jose right to the lead that day and really didn't settle till he got in front. We really didn't want to be on the lead, and Irad did the job.
Well, you did a good job as well. Congrats.
Thank you.
And Joe, obviously you bred him as well, and quite a family Twiggles has produced for you. Enthusiastic Gal and Sweet By and By, and now him. I mean, wow.
She just keeps getting better and better.
And Enthusiastic Gal having a foal on the ground, so you're keeping the bloodlines going. But considering he is a PA bred, now he's won an open stakes in only his 3rd start of his career, quite an accomplishment.
Yeah, it is, but we're going to give him a little break now. He's going to go to Florida, and then we'll pick his next spot in a couple of months.
Could we see him back here in New York?
And not this year, no. Hopefully you'll see him in a bigger one next year.
Well, that's what I was alluding to.
Yeah, not this year, but next year.
I like
okay,
it.
we really like this horse.
And you think he can go beyond the mile?
Yeah, definitely. Definitely. He trains, I mean, he's right there all the time, and he's always asking for more.
Love it. All right, Joe. Well, congratulations.
Very much.
And quite an accomplishment. Out of that dam, as I was saying, Greg Twiggles, she has been quite the producer. And Joe kind of hinting we might see this horse in the Turf Series next year.
We don't know how he'll do on Derby.
That'd be the Trinity Series Belmont Derby. Ooh, that'd be a lot of fun to see by land and see back here in New York.
I would. Got a nice pedigree, and to give this horse a little bit of time, the blinkers have completely helped, and a good win, and a good win by the sire Cairo Prince. Got a little gray in both of them. Obviously, he probably gets a gray from the Maria's Mon.
Well, we got one more coming up, and it's 6 furlongs to close out this Saturday card. It will be on the inner turf. New York breds, entry level allowance condition, a little faith. Bruce Levine, John Velasquez cuts back in distance. Was a winner first time out, going 7 furlongs.
Yeah, I mean, there is a big difference, though, and you can say, yes, there's a big difference, 1/8 of a mile. But there's more than the 1/8 of a mile difference, and I think you'll agree, Paul, between 7 furlong turf races and 6 furlong turf races.
Yeah, you're
6
right.
furlongs are true sprints. So the one question with this horse is whether or not she's going to be effective at 6.
True.
Otherwise, she's tough to beat.
No.
Tomorrow.
Yes.
Closing day of the meet.
Yes,
Empire
it is.
6, it means mandatory payout in that jackpot carryover. You have jumped ahead a little bit and put together some tickets for us. Depending on the weather, you have all bases covered.
I got bases covered. I got turf, dirt, because we don't know what's going to happen in Mile Hare. Okay.
Good luck in the 4th off the turf, by the way.
Yeah. So like, we don't really know what's going to happen tomorrow. We're supposed to get a lot of rain, and we don't know if they're going to take the races off the turf. So here is my turf ticket. Okay, 1, 7, 8, and 12 to start it off. And if you go all the way to the 8th race, I'm going to try to keep this as short as you can, because when you look at the 8th race, if this is a race where, to me, you have to single Fool's Gold for Chad Brown. But if it gets taken off the turf, the 13, another broad, the 13 is going to be a complete standout and probably be 1 to 5. The rest of my tickets are their exact same numbers except the 2 off the turf races. The 4th race, if it's off the turf, I think you have to go deeper, actually, when it comes to the dirt. But that 8th race is the key to me. Fool's Gold on the turf, and then the 13, another broad off the turf, who is even money off the turf. So I think, listen, it's a 20-cent increment. You can buy into the ticket if you want. One's about $100 and some odd, one's $216, and hopefully, I'm hoping for rain.
What do you mean you can buy in?
He'll sell both of his tickets for $500.
You're going to allow anyone to get in who wants
500.
to?
Whatever you can have whatever piece you want.
Let me see what I got here. Anyone
You
can
going to
get
producer that ticket, Paul?
Let's go.
By the way, Puffery, who I think you used in the 6th race, Paul, Puffery, is entered on Friday at Aqueduct, so she could be scratched.
She could be scratched. Well, here's the other part about this, too, is with the rain and what might happen tomorrow, I think those tickets are going to shorten a little bit. They're not going to be 190, 200. There's going to be some scratches.
Right, but if, we're going to try to run the race in the turf. It's closing day. Obviously, we'll try our best to run them. It depends. If we get a 1/4 of an inch to a 1/2 inch, we're going to probably run the turf. If we get a deluge, we won't.
And by the way, we're there. It's carried over into Sunday, so mandatory payout final day. I'm in, and you want to hang on to this, too. This is an IOU for a lot of money, so I'm good for it. Go ahead and put that on it as well.
I went in my pocket and I thought better of it.
All right, so we got we're $30 there. So
Mitch Levitas, our director, has a quarter.
$20 voucher.
He said.
I'm going to keep this, actually. I'll just go in for what I gave you.
Right here.
The whole dollar?
Okay, so he's got 4% on my ticket tomorrow.
Good luck to you.
0.04 point.
Hey, good luck to everyone. Look, it's going to get up there. It's going to be massive. Good luck to everyone playing. Mandatory payout whenever we have had them. We've had a few of them this summer. It has paid sensational.
It has.
We still have the finale coming up on this Saturday afternoon. Stay with us. Post parade coming up right after this.
This proven son of Giants Causeway has sired 4 millionaires, including Claiborne Farm stallion Lee. Recent top runners include Cutting Humor, winner of the Grade 3 Sunland Park Derby, plus 3-time graded stakes winner Sharp Samurai, and international star Shamal Nibras. This year, his 2-year-olds have brought prices up to $310,000. First Samurai, standing at Claiborne Farm.
It's America's original sport, and no one covers it better than americasbestracing.net. From the sport to the lifestyle, the best races, horses, and destination venues, cocktails, gambling, fashion, and more. americasbestracing.net is a sport for you. Live it, love it, bet it.
Twelve categories covering the best of the sport and lifestyle, all decided by the fans. It's the America's Best Racing Fan Choice Awards.
Ooh, make your voice heard. ABR Fan Choice Awards will be hosted in part by our colleague, Paul LaDuca. You looking forward to it?
Yeah, I'm looking forward to it. The voting starts November 6th. Obviously, it goes through the 20th, as you can see there, the bottom left corner there. Me, myself, and Tabitha Lipkin will be hosting it. And the best racing analyst, I am not on the list. I've taken myself off the list.
What list?
The best racing analyst. There's no host, so Greg can't even win anything.
In my heart, he's
So
the best host.
to stand
That's
in
all that
solidarity, thank you. To stand in solidarity with me, you're taking yourself out of contention?
Yeah, I'm out of contention.
Thank
yeah.
you, buddy. I love
Yeah.
my partners here.
Yeah. Plus, I got a great last name. It was the best last name to have in sports because it was Loduca, so they could say Duke or Boo. So I didn't never know if I was getting booed or they were saying Duke. So
Do you get tired of people calling you DeLuca?
that was what I wanted.
That annoys me when people call you say you're DeLuca to me.
Yeah.
Because people call me Sterling, and that's annoying,
Yeah,
right?
yeah,
Over
yeah.
time, it is what it is.
Yeah, I don't like that either. It's one of those pet peeves. The only pet peeve of mine.
When are you hosting the actual show? What's the date?
It is
Don't ask any tough
December.
questions.
It's in like the middle of
It's
December.
in December.
15. Yeah,
Oh, okay.
yeah.
All right, again, get out there, vote on the ABR website, November 6th through the 20th. You can vote on all those categories. I like this last race coming up.
I do too.
We've got
And
some
I
good
like
prices.
I like a sneaky horse.
Who?
I'll tell you later. Oh, you want now?
Yeah. Who's your sneaky horse?
I like the 11 getting on the turf for the first time. For
Wow.
Gary Siaka.
I'm knocking on it to
Out of a Lear
23 to
fan
1.
there. Yeah, a Lear fan on the bottom side. I think he's got a little pedigree, might be able to take to the turf. I'm just looking for a bomb. That this horse is the horse to beat a Little Faith. Andy and I were talking about Allish is not going to be 6-1, the 2. But the 7 probably deserves to be your favorite. And this is the win first time out. And this is sprinting, going 7 furlongs here at Belmont. What are you going to get today? 6 furlongs. But she sure started to turn her foot on her debut.
No, she was terrific. It's a slow-paced race. Now, she was helped by the second horse getting in traffic, but she still ran very well, and she ran terrifically in her second race, mile 16th, in the wide post. She was also bumped badly in the stretch in that race at Saratoga, where a lot of us felt the winner probably should have come down for a foul. I think she's the most talented horse in the race. In fact, I feel very strongly she is, but 6 furlongs can be tricky.
11 minutes to post in our finale on this Saturday afternoon card. Let's head downstairs, get a paddock report from Maggie.
We'll check in with your current favorite. That's number 7, A Little Faith, a filly that I think she was one where Saratoga got the best of her. She would get really wound up in the paddock. I know she ran well 2 back up on August 4th up there, but she's just so much more relaxed here, which is a good sign for her because this is much of what I saw in that maiden breaking debut for Bruce Levine. So I have no problems with A Little Faith. She's a horse that I've liked throughout her brief career so far. But let's check in with one that should be a bigger price here. That is Cat Lady Steph. Now, she's actually run okay. I mean, a little bit of a meager beginning in that maiden 40, but came back and ran well. And not the strongest of A other thans, but physically, I can't fault her at all. I mean, she's probably the next best looking horse to a Little Faith in here. I think she looks tremendous. I like her disposition. She's forward. She's marching around here. She's got a super coat on her for Greg Matisse. I cannot fault Cat Lady Steph whatsoever. As number 4 is Native Dawn, returns to the races and will get on the turf. There's little turf pedigree to speak of with this filly for Mark Casse. She looks as though maybe she could handle it. Physically, she's not that convincing. Her pedigree definitely isn't convincing. She hasn't done much changing from 2 to 3 off that year-plus layoff. She looks fit. That's about the only thing I can say. We'll see. She is going to be a decent price, obviously, for connections as riders are up here, Greg.
All right, thank you. There's David Donk, who, of course, trained Awad for the majority of his career. And we just saw the Awad Stakes, won impressively by Byland and Sea. And David Donk there talking strategy with Dylan Davis. Their horse 27-1 on the board. Miss Zeb Pat, the 10.
Yeah, and maybe, I guess.
Well, I will say Miss Zeb Pat is probably not a win candidate, but she really improved. Her maiden win last time was far and away the best race she's run.
Yeah, I can say the blinkers have really improved her. I mean, early in her starts, she was not getting bet as a 2-year-old. And obviously she's turned around a 3-year-old, but the blinkers have helped her in the morning. At least she's getting bet in the afternoon. And Andy's right. That last race was by far her best race. And she ran back in 18 days. Now she's getting a little bit more rest. So she might be a little bit better today. She hasn't missed a board at Belmont either.
8 minutes away. We have our post parade coming up in a moment. There's a 13-1 shot here. Eric Cancel will ride Alvernia here for Gary Siaka.
Yeah, Siaka's got a couple in here. He's got the 5 and the 11, 14-1 and 26-1. There's the 5, the gray. Eric Cancel looking for a double on the card.
We better run this race soon. They're going to need miners' hats.
By the way, the 5.
A little dark out here.
Yeah, it is going to look dark. The 5, I mean, at 14-1, has run one time on the turf. That wasn't a bad effort. The first and second place finishers came both back to win.
But can I change?
By the way, it was O'Malley who you liked a lot this summer at Saratoga.
First post is 12:20 tomorrow. First race, so betting that carryover, the mandatory payout. I think the 4th race will be going off kind of early, before around 2 o'clock, right?
Yeah, we'll get it exactly.
Because we do pretty much have a different post time every day here at the New York Racing Association.
So yeah, if you want to get involved in the Empire Pick 6 tomorrow, it will start at 2:01 Eastern time. So right around between the first and second quarters.
And all this money, we got to give it out. Mandatory payout. It's the final day of the Belmont Fall Meet before the scene shifts to Aqueduct. So got to get involved tomorrow. Here's our post parade for the nightcap. We start with Tizakitten gets post 2. Kendrick Carmouche aboard.
Yeah, you know, this horse has some races that actually make her a player, and she's getting a big rider change.
Ailish Javier Castellano gets the rail.
Yeah, I've been calling her all. Excuse me, Ailish here.
For the movie Brooklyn.
Jorge Abreu and Javier Castellano. I'm surprised she's 9-2. I think she'll end up being right around her price 3-1.
9-1. Cat Lady Steph won first time out, ran second.
She's a big price, so if you like her, you should play her. But she took advantage last time of an absolutely paceless race when the speed of that race got scratched at the gate.
Native Dawn has not raced since July 2018 for Mark Casse.
Yeah, and a horse that after winning first time out, they put in a little stakes race, now turf off the long layoff.
Alvernia, who we mentioned earlier, Eric Cancel aboard, the daughter of violence.
Yeah, the one turf race was a mile. Can she cut back to 6 furlongs is the question. But the race wasn't terrible, as you say.
Dancing with Daffodils taking money. 4-1 here for Eduardo Jones.
Good effort last time. Seems like this horse gotten a little bit better in Eduardo's care. Now Joe Bravo will be aboard.
Here's our favorite, a Little Faith, Bruce Levine, a Candy Ride filly.
If she is efficient at 6 furlongs, she's probably going to win.
Tappan Z, Sam Camacho Jr., a rider change on this long shot for Dominic Schettino.
Yeah, and a horse that just is 0 for 6 on the turf course, and it's just a better dirt horse.
She went fast early, and then she completely backed out of it last time out against easier competition. Here's Birthday Gift, Patrick Kelly.
You know, got a nice trip and a nice ride to get second last time against Lesser, but I think she could get a piece.
Miss Seb Pat, the David Donk runner, and Dylan Davis aboard, coming off that maiden claiming win.
Listen, this horse, you know, at 15 to 1 or whatever the price is, 24 to 1. The light bulb went on last time out. It can go on again today at a big price.
Paul LaDuca's long shot special. Tried to get this filly on the turf a couple of times. Were washed off on both occasions.
Yeah, I should let Paul talk about it since he likes her. She doesn't really have a pedigree. It says she should move up on turf, but I'm not knocking Paul's long shot.
And Take Me to Hardoon, Jeremiah Engelhardt, turf debut for this daughter of violence.
This is an interesting horse, too, because if you look, she won first time out. They stuck her in the Frazette. Then they went, and they didn't back off. They went into the Key Sets, another $100,000 race. She's stakes place. Now they're going to try turf after really bad efforts. She's a confusing horse to handicap, but at 26 to 1, maybe worth a shot.
4 minutes from this finale on this Saturday afternoon card. Hi, Maggie Wolfendale. Naomi Tucker, too. Rising star in the business. We'll be back.
Coming on strong.
Minute to stardom. On top, coming down to the final 16th. Opening up a 2-length lead.
My love for you.
Wild About Star, shining big here in very one.
Oh, why did I wrong?
Testing, 1, 2. The Star Guitar filly beats Champagne Diva close to home. It's testing, 1, 2.
Feel my love for you coming on strong.
It only takes 20 cents to take down an Empire. The Empire 6 is the jackpot 20-cent pick-six bet that's offered every day at Belmont Park. One unique winning ticket earns the entire net pool, plus the jackpot carryover. Without a unique ticket, 75% is distributed to winners with 25% added to the jackpot. Win big with the Empire 6. Next mandatory payout date, Sunday, October 27th. Visit nyra.com/Empire6 for complete details.
You couldn't compose a better pedigree. A half-brother to Beholder.
Beholder's gonna go all the way.
A half-brother to Into Mischief.
Into Mischief wins the Cast Call Futility.
The most versatile performer from this brilliant family.
Mendelssohn's gonna do it. Mendelssohn has won it by a length.
What a win by Mendelssohn. Mendelssohn by a conservative 17 lengths.
Scat Daddy's best-bred son at stud. Mendelssohn.
Tom Durkin letting you know New York breds start with an advantage. At the sales, buyers pay up to 7 figures. And there's over $2 million in stakes money limited to New York sired horses in the New York Stallion Stakes Series, like the Park Avenue for 3-year-old fillies.
Newly minted wins it for fun.
For fun and money. The winner's share generates an additional $55,000 from the New York Breeding Fund.
Funny Guy's gonna do it.
Funny Guys win in the Times Square division generates the same money. So get with the program at nybreds.com.
Back on America's Day at the races on MSG Plus. Getting set for our nightcap coming up. Still the favorite, the 7, A Little Faith. 5 to 2 on the board for trainer Bruce Levine. In this horse?
Well, here's the thing. The horse's first race was so good.
It's been a long day.
The second race was really good. The last race, this horse did not have a great beginning. It was a tiny bit of a bobble up on the front end.
We also have to remember that was the race where
but
Nico's Dream came out. But
yeah.
But Nico's Dream came out and interfered with half the field, and somehow, I don't even think there was an inquiry.
No, there wasn't, because I don't think Nico's Dream. Oh, yes,
no,
you're
Nico's Dream
right.
should have come down and interfered with half the field.
that's right,
and
yeah.
Little Faith was the first horse that she came out into, I believe, and she caused a chain reaction.
Yeah. Around that first turn, right?
No, in the stretch.
Oh, wasn't? There was an issue around the turn in that race, too,
yes,
wasn't
there was, and the horse who finished second took the worst of it, hit it provisional.
Yes, exactly.
But this was the horse. The Eagles Dream was coming between horses, and she bore out and caused a chain reaction with the whole field. Old wounds.
Let's head downstairs to Maggie.
Thanks, guys. I don't know what's going on down here. We've got dueling cameras. Anyway, I got hair problems. Let's talk about the 12. As Paul was talking about Take Me to Hardoon, she can be really bad sometimes. Obviously, her last race was one of those. But why do they keep persevering? I don't know. Considering that she already has graded stakes earnings, they could easily retire and just say, okay, let's just make her a broodmare. But this switch to the turf, the thing that I always observe with her, at least since coming back now as a 3-year-old, is she's a really good mover. When I watch her warm up, I can't fault her whatsoever. She's the one who always sticks out to me while warming up on the racetrack. And a lot of times that does actually translate well to the turf. I don't know. I mean, Jeremiah reaches out here to Mike Leslie. He's done so in the past. Sometimes they have success. Like I said, I've liked her every time, and sometimes that does mean that the turf is okay. There isn't much to speak of other than being by violence, though. Greg?
Maggie, thanks. 5-2 on that 7-horse, A Little Faith. John Velasquez, who, well, obviously, Native Dawn, the 4, has not run since July of 2018. You think that horse is going to be pressuring Cat Lady Steph in here?
Oh, that's a very good question.
Maybe Tappan Zee, maybe?
I have not given it that much look. Yeah, I think Native Dawn is potentially faster. Whether or not they'll use her speed around here, that's the million-dollar question. But I agree with you. And I agree, Tappan Zee's another horse, Paul, who's supposed to be forward.
Yeah, it's got to be.
And Braxton, I don't know if she'll handle the turf, but if she does, your horse, isn't she supposed to be forward?
Yeah, I'll know immediately whether my horse is live or not, because Andy's right. She's shown speed before on the dirt. We'll see if it transfers to the turf.
5-2 favorite as they continue to load up. It will be the 7 here. A Little Faith for Bruce Levine, our nightcap on this Saturday card. We saw Maximum Security come back and look so impressive against older horses in the Grade 3 Bold Ruler. Now our finale. We send it upstairs to the voice of New York Racing for the call. Here's Larry Colmus.
Just a couple left to load here. Here is a Braxton, who will be second last to go into the starting gate. And that will leave Take Me to Hardoon to complete the line. Braxton goes in, Take Me to Hardoon to the outside stall. They're all in line. They're off. Tappan Zee is going out to the early lead with Cat Lady Steph sent along from the inside. Take Me to Hardoon is right there too with Native Dawn, Ms. Seb Pat, and Tis a Kitten on the inside. A Little Faith is 3.5 lengths off the lead early, and then it's Dancing with Daffodils. Braxton is next. Ailish is down on the inside, and they're followed by Birthday Gift and Alvernia. So the field racing for the far turn with Tappan Zee the leader, and Take Me to Hardoon taking it to her through a 22:08 opening quarter mile. These two a neck apart. Cat Lady Steph is third on the inside. Ms. Seb Pat is fourth. Dancing with Daffodils is going up on the far outside. A Little Faith is right up in there too, about 4 lengths off the lead. They're being followed by Tis a Kitten. Braxton is next, and Birthday Gift is circling up on the far outside. Then Ailish and Alvernia, and they're into the stretch. And it is Tappan Zee to catch as they come down to the 8th pole. Tappan Zee by 2. Up the rail, A Little Faith. Now closing the gap through on the inside and takes over. A Little Faith to the front from Tappan Zee. Then Dancing with Daffodils on the outside, and Tis a Kitten along the rail. Alvernia flying late in the middle behind A Little Faith, who won it by 3.5 lengths. Alvernia got up for second over Dancing with Daffodils, and then Tappan Zee.
Well, it's 50-1 shot on Sam Camacho Jr. trying to finish in here. Weakens late. A Little Faith, the favorite, gets the job done late and actually wound up going off second choice at 3-1.
I missed that, or I would have bet on her. I thought she was going to be 8-5 in here. And a very good move by John Velasquez. He was sitting in good position, and he wanted to try to find room to angle out. And then the top of the stretch, he cut to the inside as the other horses went wide, and he cut that corner, and bang, he's right in the race. Now, he wanted to go outside of the 8, but the 8 was drifting, so he said, all right, I'm just going to go through the inside. And as we said before, she was going to win this race if she handled the 6 furlongs. I guess if she lost, Paul, we would have said she was dead on the board?
Yeah, I guess so.
Crazy price, right?
Yeah, it is. She should have been the favorite.
Overwhelming favorite.
Play her over all the grades. Can we go back to the far turn real quick again? I'm not taking anything away from A Little Faith.
We can't.
The 5. I'll tell you what. Eric Cancel gave the 5 a great ride. The horse was inside to outside. It was absolutely flying late.
She got second, right?
She got second in this race at a nice little price here at 17-1. So the 7 over 3 grades for your superfecta.
A little faith. Dips down to the fence in the stretch, gets the win. John Velasquez, Bruce Levine, but yeah, huge price there, 17-1 at second. Alvernia, we kept saying it the last couple of weeks here how much better Eric Cancel's been riding.
Yeah, and I think Alvernia is done on the turf. I mean, on the dirt. I mean, how much more do you need to see? I think the 5. I think the 5 is just a better turf race by far. I mean, the 2 turf races are not even close.
I agree.
Yeah.
The bad news for her is there's only about a month of turf racing.
Exactly, yeah.
It's always next year.
Yeah. But, you know, this was a horse, when you really looked at it, she won first time out. She was just faster than this field. And we talked about it earlier when we had the 2 and the 7, and she was just best in here. And you're going to get a nice little superfecta here.
And public, their faith, they backed off late in here. Somehow you get 3-1 at post time.
Jesus price.
Let's go to Maggie.
And here with great trainer Bruce Levine as a little faith. Bruce, she was much the best today.
Yeah, I think the turn back. I thought she wanted to go long. I had the mother. She went long. And Candy Ride, I just thought she would go long. And she ran second the first time up at Saratoga after she broke a maiden. And then the next time she just kind of folded up. And I said, let me try her sprinting. And that's how she broke a maiden 7/8. We had her in 7/8 a couple weeks ago. It got rained out. So I said, let me try her. And it worked out.
Bruce, also I noticed she was a little bit more relaxed today than what she got up in Saratoga. Was Belmont a little bit more conducive to her?
I think most horses are. They get cranked up there, and we did a little schooling with her down here. So, but Saratoga, you know, they get on their toes.
Well, congratulations, much deserved win here.
Thank you very much.
All right, a little faith. Well, Connections did have a little faith and cut her back, and it worked.
Sprinting, she's never lost.
No. No, and Johnny V did a great job. He really did. He weaved in and out of traffic. The 6 was trying to come over the top, dancing with daffodils. He was able to get the first jump there. And then Alvernia really was jumping off the ground late. But they were way behind this filly, about 5-6 lengths. She's got a nice little future sprinting.
No, she's okay. And it's funny what Bruce was saying. Now, Billy Badger, I believe, originally trained the mother. Bruce suggested he had her eventually, and she was a router. She won, I think, about $500,000, a very good New York bred. But she seems to be very efficient sprinting. I wouldn't give up on her going long. I mean, her second race going long at Saratoga was a very good effort from the outside post. I wonder if the GC that Maggie was alluding to came undone up in Saratoga and got fouled last time. So she may be efficient at a lot of distances.
Yeah, she could have a lot of options. Late pick 5, $7,626. The Empire 6, $8,266. And of course, tomorrow, final day of this Belmont Fall Meet, we have this for you. Jackpot carryover, $279,432 mandatory payout, and with this mandatory payout, it's going to get up there maybe an extra $2-3 million. Going to be betting in this pool.
Yeah, it depends. Yeah, I'm going to call 1.5 to 2 million.
Yeah,
and
that's right.
Play with the hooch. Play with hooch.
You ever see Turner and Hooch?
Hey,
very
Turner
good
and
movie.
Hooch.
Tom Hanks.
Yeah.
Tom Hanks.
Who else is in that? A dog? Tom Hanks and a dog,
Yeah,
right?
Hooch.
Get involved with the Showdown contest
There's
each and every day.
It's a little dark out here.
Mets and Knicks fans.
It's genuinely dark out here, by the way.
Yeah, it got dark very fast. But again, yeah, you can play that contest each and every day. One more day to play it. And then we have, after tomorrow, we have one more show, Cigar Mile. We hope to see Maximum Security.
I think we will.
Make that his final start of his 3-year-old campaign. He was sensational coming back.
He was. He answered the questions. Listen, whenever you have questions coming in, and Andy and I both did, whether he was going to be ready or beat an older division field, he answered the question, and he got the W.
Yeah, I don't ever regret betting against horses like that. I still don't think he should have been 3-5, but he won. And the idea is we're gamblers, but he delivered. He had things go his own way, but he ran a very good race today, and he really did answer the question. We'll see what he does with Cigar Mile. We'll see who comes back. I mean, don't forget, it's now, I think, December 7th or December 8th, so it's 5 weeks or so after the Breeders' Cup, so plenty of time for horses to come back. That could come back one of the races of the year.
Yeah, we'll wait and see who else is expected to line up in that group, but we'll have live coverage of that race on America's Day at the Races. So we look forward to that, but what a performance. And just to have a horse like that on track, not every day you get to see the horse who crossed the wire first in the Kentucky Derby come in with all he's gone through, and you saw how emotional Jason Service got. That was neat to see.
They say there's no crying in baseball. You're allowed to cry in horse racing.
Yes, you are.
You ever cry in baseball, Paul? You can admit it. We're all friends.
Well, when I got hit in the head by a 96-mile-an-hour fastball.
More than once?
Was it the big unit?
Probably more than once. By Greg Nelson.
Oh.
I cried that day. Yeah.
You're allowed. Mandatory payout.
I'm
It's coming
crying
up
just
tomorrow.
hearing about it.
Final day of the meets. I've cried on a few pick fives that I've not cashed in on.
I cry over everything.
Get involved
Meets,
tomorrow.
Movies.
It is going to be fun. We will see you tomorrow on the program. We're back at 3 Eastern on MSG Plus for the final day of the meet. We look forward to seeing you on Sunday afternoon. Maximum Security beating Older Horses in his first start back since the Haskell Invitational, 2-time Grade 1 winner at the Grade 3 against Older Horses, to a resume that still has him in a mix for divisional honors. We'll see you on Sunday.